Well, there goes the neighborhood. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Welcome on this Saturday morning, May. Oh my God, it's the last Saturday in May, isn't it? Or is it not? 25 plus 7. Is our next show June 1st?
Yes.
Might be, or June 2nd. Oh my God, it could very well be the last Saturday in May of 2024. Potatoes here. Oh, no nose. No nose potatoes with us.
Oh, we
Oh.
were gonna start on the ring
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
next time.
Got busy with that. So, and that is my darling and adorable and wonderful wife who's with us here in the neighborhood on this Saturday with a brand new episode. You figure we wouldn't be doing new episodes at this point. We have 944 previous episodes of this program. You figure, is there really anything left unsaid? Is there any joke I have not told and told 37 times? Is there any idea that has come up that hasn't come up in other circumstances? Are there any chickens that I have not yet caught in? I'm trying to do this lefty, ho, because my name is Lefty. Oh, da 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 da. See, is there anything that we haven't done? And yet somehow, every Saturday morning, we discover something new or something old. Oh, I missed that, whatever that was, to talk about and to enjoy. Oh, formal. Formal. Look at this. Well, maybe we can give this to Potato here. Perhaps not right now. So we will figure out new stuff because, of course, new stuff happens in the world all the time. I change, you change. I changed before coming on this show. This brand new shirt that I hope you like. Here's the deal. Dave's Gone By, which has been airing since October of 2002, mixes ridiculousness, nonsense, humor, pointed, angry satire, comedy, interviews, serious stuff, sometimes culture. It's a whole weekly, eclectic, omnibus mix of stuff. What do you need? Here. Yeah. So, and yeah, I mean, it took years to morph and figure out, and it's still changing all the time. We're still figuring out what to do and how to do it. Lo, these 21 and a half years later. We also had some highs too, as well as the lows. But we're calling this one A Sense of Huber. Not a sense of humor, a sense of Huber, because I'm very excited and proud to say that our guest in the neighborhood coming up later in the program is a really, really nice guy and a talented guy who was kind enough to direct my play many, many years ago. And so he was an educator out there on the West Coast, teaching at a bunch of different colleges and universities. Particularly, he was at a place called Cerritos College. And this is going back, wow, I think about 30 years now, which is astonishing to me. Maybe not quite 30 years.
Why is he wearing he's wearing like a park ranger outfit?
Because there's a reason for that.
Okay.
It's really cool. So here's the deal. Robin, his name is, legal name is Robert Huber, but he's Robin. He was Robin to all of us. So I had a play that I wrote called Candide. And it was not a direct adaptation of Voltaire's Candide. It was a very loose, sick, funny, satirical, dark adaptation of the Candide story. And we'll talk more about that, when Robin comes in. But it won an award. It won an award out in California, the Lee Korff Playwriting Award, which doesn't exist anymore. If you Google it, you can't even find it anywhere. But hand to God, the Emmis, I won it that year. And that came with a production of the play at a college, a community college in California called Cerritos College. And the college still exists. So Robin was the director there. He was also a professor there. And so he was tasked with directing my play Candide with all his college kids at Cerritos College. And one of the cool things that really worked for that situation was, when you're a professor and you're in charge of the theater department and you're trying to pick plays, it's really cool when you have a play that gives people a lot of opportunities to act. and my play was nothing if not overstuffed. So there were literally 20-something speaking roles, depending on how often you doubled or didn't double. And it was like this massive, epic comic piece. So, whatever issues the play might have had or might not have had, I still love the play. It allowed a professor to say, oh, I'm casting. And it's not like 6 people get speaking parts and 2 people get walk-ons and, a spear carrier and so forth. No, you had a lot of students getting the opportunity, Gesundheit, to appear in the show, in a nice scene or two. So I think that worked out really well for a college perspective. Anyway, Gesundheit. One of the best times I ever had, Gesundheit again. Nope, your eye is fine. One of the best times I ever had in my life was going back and forth twice to spend a week with these kids. I mean, I was in my, late 20s, I think, maybe just bordering 30, dealing with 17, 18-year-old kids who were undergraduates at this university, and Robin as director, and also, I forget his name, but there was an older gentleman in the department who played the old man, like Candide's mentor, his rabbi, if you will. And remember, this is like a Jewish college. They had to do this play that had a very Jewish theme with Jewish and Polish and Eastern European characters set in the Holocaust era with a rabbi, with all these Yiddish words. So there was a lot going on. And Robin did a fabulous job. And it was just so lovely hanging with him and the students and getting the play done. I almost broke my foot. That was my California experience. So I want to get Robin's memories of that time, of doing the show, of me, and also his many, many years teaching theater and running a theater department out there in California.
Circle back to this outfit.
Oh, right. And, but anyway, Robin retired after probably 2 or 3 or 4 decades, Gesundheit again, 2 or 3 or 4 decades teaching and directing. And then he said, well, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? He's this youngish, very active, I don't know how young he is now, but very active fellow. So apparently, he also has this tremendous interest in nature.
I
And
could have asked him about the foxes and
we can.
Yes.
Yeah, he's going to be live with us.
Oh, okay.
He took this tremendous interest in conservation and nature and parks and helping ecology and stopping global warming and all of that. So he literally, his golden years are now spent volunteering in park preserves and ranger stuff out in California. Hence the picture that I have posted. That is his Facebook picture. That's his recent image. Post-acting, post-directing, post-everything. Here, yeah, thank you. I can show this right here. So there's Robin, circa probably a year ago, maybe more recently than that, out in beautiful California. Yeah. Plus, I also asked him about California because we hear so many awful things about it being on the left coast, and reading some of the right-wing things in New York Post and Fox News and saying, oh my God, California is just this burning pit of hell. I mean, if New York is this bad, California is just this bad in terms of taxes and prices and homelessness and everything going on. So, but he's lived and presumably loves living in and around LA and places like that. So why not ask him about his view of what it's like to be living in California then and now? So Robin Huber, I should say Dr. Robin Huber, because he does have a doctorate as well as a bachelor and a master's. Yes, very proud and excited to be talking to this fellow that I haven't physically seen in many years. I think I had lunch with him one time when we went to California a few years back. So it hasn't been forever, but it's been a long, long time. And he'll be with us Zooming later in the program. Yay. Plus, on this episode of Dave's Gone By, we will have Bunyan Watch, because I'm going to... I go from the heights. I go from a doctor, someone who knows actually more about California theater history than most other people, because he studied that. He studied like the first theater there.
And chipmunks.
And chipmunks, yeah, and Dale monks as well. And then going all the way from that to showing my feet on camera just to share the condition of the bunions on my feet, because I know you care, because I know that's important to you. Also, Greeley Times, where from the Greeley Tribune newspaper, a real newspaper out in northern Colorado, they do a weekly column of phone calls. These are real things, of phone calls that actually come into the local police department from people who are complaining, who see something in the neighborhood that scares them. They call the cops, and it's the phone calls themselves that are sometimes scarier than anything else. It's public record. They put it in the paper. We take the funniest ones and put them on here every week on Dave's Gone By. Plus, we will have, a brand new humorous song called Stupid Pupil that I did this past week. It's a little takeoff on, or parody, if you will, and you will, of the Connie Francis. She made it famous. It was actually written by Neil Sedaka and Howard Greenfield, called Stupid Cupid. I've got my own take on that, so you're going to want to hear that, as well as our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, where we go to Aiken, Colorado. I'm aching to hear my horrible little poem about Aiken, Colorado. And where else? What else? I left something out. Oh, story time. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we've been holding this one back for a few weeks, but we can't wait anymore. Just like these folks on the cover here. Yes, we can't hold back from sharing with you, and the one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi Sal Solomon will be here to take us through at least part of, this might take like 2 or 3 times, to go through the P word, a manual for mammals. This is a children's book by David L. Hu and illustrated by Ilyas Arahovov. I'm Jewish. I should be able to do this one. Ilyas Arahovitis. I can't tell if it's Jewish now or Greek. It might be actually Greek. Arahovitis. Anyway, whatever he is. They've collaborated on this book, which is, I didn't even know what this word would be. I assumed when I saw this in the local library that this would be for P, because behold. And yet, no, it is the other P word in a book for, like 5th graders and 6th graders and me. So ladies and gentlemen, Rabbi Sal Solomon going to be taking us through the P word, and it ain't Passover, and it ain't Pesach in the Torah. No, it's something else. Anywho, that's what's going to be on this episode of the show. Dave's Gone By, number 945, taking you from 9ish until noonish or thereabouts Eastern time here in the neighborhood on this Saturday morning. So,
But you have a listener who wants to check in.
Oh, look! It's my Spuddy Buddy. There he is. Potato, do you know them? I feel like we went to a catch-up party together, but I'm not 100%. Sometimes I wake up in the morning, I don't remember things, and suddenly I feel like I'm bleeding from a certain hole, but then that's catch-up. So it's hard to tell. Well, all right, but wait, no. I nearly took the phone and handed my wife the cannoli. Anywho, so Joyce is running through the photos of the week, because that's one of the things we like to do to start the show off, to get my throat cleared, is let you know, because I have a very, 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 thank goodness, actually, a kind of a boring life. My life consists of, sitting at a computer, working on my website and stuff, working on teaching, doing syllabi and all that nonsense.
Just
and
don't
then
scroll because
Yeah.
it'll show things you don't want to show, so just show the one picture.
Oh yeah, and then I'll turn and with this faced away from the camera. So, but one thing I did get to do yesterday is and I'll say the name because I always talk about Mission Barbecue, but there's a place we go to called Stone Mill, the Stone Mill Bakery or Cafe, and they have very good food. Sometimes a little pricey, but some of the things are actually quite reasonable considering what you get, and the food is really good. So Joyce gets, what do you get there? Like it's a vegetable like caprese. What is it? It's tomato. It's mozzarella. What is it?
Whatever. I don't know.
It's got vegetables in it somewhere. Yeah. And then, but what they've had as a special recently is lobster. And I know Red Lobsters are closing all over the place. So this is kind of a thing. If you are in the Maryland area or even Delaware area and you're jonesing for lobster, and your Red Lobster is closed, and you don't want to pay whatever the prices are there, they have a really great special here at Stone Mill, and it's just lobster on a bun. There it is. There's me in another kind of my octopus shirt, which actually, in person, my shirt is very faded, but it looks really nice in pictures. So yeah, that's me. Literally yesterday, eating a lobster. And one of the things I do, it's simple stuff. Now my favorite would just be like warm lobster with a little drawn butter and dipping, but this is second to that, where they add just a little bit of mayonnaise and it's chilled. But oh my god, they give you and if you've eaten lobster, you know what a pain in the ass it is to get the actual meat out of the claw. So you're breaking and you're cutting your finger and you're cracking this.
How do they do it so easily?
This is what this is what they do. Maybe they have a machine. Maybe they have a lobster declawing factory. Because I know whenever or try to eat lobster, I get it out and you feel so good because like, oh, I did the work. I deserve this. And you put it in your mouth and there's still like this little triangle of hard shell that you're trying to chew and god damn it, and it takes away the enjoyment of this crustacean that you're trying to get into and savor. I mean, lobster used to be like a shitfish, right? I mean, back years ago when I was kosher and couldn't eat it anyway, it was like tilapia. It was like lobster was a creepy crawly thing on the bottom of the ocean. Who the hell wants to eat that? And then suddenly somebody put butter next to it. I said, we can charge a lot for this and call it gourmet. And then lobster became like incredibly expensive and ridiculous and like something you have only on special occasions, unless you live in Maine and have your own, lobster pot and Javix bottles on the tide. So I go to this place, I go to Stone Mill, and they have on a bun like big, chunky, fresh, yummy pieces of lobster with just a dusting of mayonnaise, a toasted bun, and that's it. That's all it needs. You don't want to turn like lobster into like chicken salad.
No.
With
Oh, like crush it.
Yeah, no. Don't mess with lobster. Don't need it. Doesn't even need like shrimp with cocktail sauce. Just give me the flesh. Give me fresh, tasty lobster. And boy, oh boy. So I had that yesterday and was and I've had it a couple of times there recently because it's their special. It's not on their regular menu all the time. But thank you to Stone Mill for that. And again, by the way, I wish I were an influencer. I would love to be some idiot on TikTok or Facebook or Twitter or somewhere just saying, hey, I ate here. It was so good. Here's beautiful pictures of the food. Love me, like me, give me thumbs up, give me $1 million, and then I'll make some money off this. No, I'm just me. I don't get any kind of anything from this. I'm just sharing my life with you. So here's what are we doing here? No, I don't need to show that. Do not need to show that. Do not need to show that. Oh, back in the day when I was worried that my name, David Lefkowitz, would be too Jewish to get me all the acting jobs or whatever jobs that I kind of wanted. That it would just be, kind of like Harvard and Yale and places like that. They certainly let a bunch of Jews in. But there was a certain amount of, okay, we have this many Jews from the 5 towns. Lefkowitz, another one, and his grades aren't quite up to the others. So there were times when I thought, if I didn't have such a Jewy name, I would have more options. More doors would open to me. So names, I started thinking, well, what other names would I go by? And would I was always David. Yeah, I didn't start using Dave until I started doing this show. I didn't change my last name, obviously, but Dave really just to conform with the name of the program. Dave has gone by until I was David. Nobody called me Dave. My dad called me Davey. Some people call me David, but that was it. But Lefkowitz, I've kept for better or worse, Lefkowitz. But if I were to come up with a brand new name of something that people could call me, if I could,
I know what this is.
Yeah. See how I set these things up?
I understood. I understand. I know where you're going.
So I don't know what the hell this was. I'm glad I kind of don't know. But appearing at, and I would take his name. I would literally pay him for the honor of having his name. Someone who appeared at the Baltimore County Public Library, local branch here. Ladies and gentlemen, don't call me Dave, call me Mr. Trash Wheel. What? What could that? I'm guessing, since our theme might be conservation or recycling or stuff like that, Mr. Trash Wheel. Who would go by that?
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah. Oh, good little gob of phlegm there. Who?
Who is Mr. Trash Wheel in Baltimore?
Oh. When Joyce says, "Oh no," like that, it means, "Oh yes." What is he? It's part-time celebrity. Oh, please read this.
Oh no.
Yeah. This has to be read now. Please, I've got to blow my nose. Hold on. Or you want me to read? What the hell?
It's winking. Let's go back.
Yeah, please do.
You could read this piece and then click on the first one and you will see.
So it's Mr. Trash Wheel, my
Need your
friends.
glasses?
And by the way,
I don't
his
want your glasses.
the library, they should know better in a library. They spelled it wrong. They put his name together.
I know.
His first name is Trash.
Yes.
His last name is Wheel.
Yes.
He's Mr. Trash Wheel. Maybe, his cousin is broken.
I think he eats trash.
His sister's hamster. I don't know.
It's a trouble.
What is this?
I don't know. It's a trash wheel. Look at him winking. He's gonna eat all that trash, I think. Let's see.
What? Was it Missouri? Where is
Are there
this?
people inside of the trash wheel? Is it like?
Yeah, it's like a boat trip, I think. Maybe. What does it do? Okay, support the Trash Wheel family. Oh, so they're obviously on welfare. They've got all sorts of issues.
Fix it.
Yeah. Well, or give me the wiki or whatever, a bio. What is it?
About.
Mr. Trash Wheel. Mr. Trash Wheel, bring me your junk.
Oh, most floating debris removed by a trash inceptor in 1 month.
What, a trash inceptor?
Here.
Is this a thing that they build that scoops?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute!
Apparently he's yeah.
Look at that!
He's a celebrity. I think he destroys trash. He's a.
Or he collects it,
Yeah,
brings it from the ocean floor.
They want you to donate, but I don't know what he is.
Well, it probably skims plastic bags and cans and bottles. In fact, I just mentioned.
How much can Mr. Trash Wheel eat?
Yeah.
Dive into the anatomy of Trash Wheel.
What a cool idea. Oh, I'm a fan now.
Here's how he does it. Here's how he does it.
Here,
There's steps to how he eats the trash.
First thing that it does, it funnels the trash. Using containment booms.
Oh, yes.
Trash flowing down the river.
Not Usha boom or not the boom.
Trash boom. It's funneled into Mr. Trash Wheel's gaping mouth.
Aww.
There he is. It's kind of like John Goodman before he lost all the weight.
It's very cute.
The booms have a 2-foot skirt that allows them to capture trash floating beneath the surface.
Oh.
And fun fact, the trash booms also help stop oil slicks from polluting the water.
Wow.
Ideally. Step 2, powered by the sun and the river current. Isn't this brilliant? Mr. Trash Wheel, his rake lifts the litter out of the water and onto the conveyor belt.
Wow.
It moves slowly, but strongly enough to lift anything that comes down the river, including tires,
Whoa.
mattresses, and trees.
What?
Jeepers.
It must be pretty. I thought it was small.
It's a 14-foot water wheel.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Powers the whole thing. And when there's not enough water current, solar panels power the pumps. This is genius.
I didn't even know a trash inceptor was a thing.
Now, when trash reaches the top of the conveyor belt, it falls into a dumpster, sitting on a separate floating barge. Once the dumpster fills, it is towed away and replaced with an empty dumpster.
Yeah.
So it's a way of collecting garbage out of the ocean, out of the sea, out of bays.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. I love you, Mr. Trash Wheel. Oh, boy.
It says the first of its kind.
Oh, really?
And he was winking, too. I don't like that he's
Well,
winking.
I think it's a flag flying by the eye of the thing. It wasn't actually winking.
It's hypnotic.
Well, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Oh, Mr. Trash Wheel.
How much trash can he eat?
It reminds me of an idea by like Steve Wolf, who was a guest on our show a few months ago. And Steve Wolf was is still a special
Oh
effects
my
guru
God!
for
Look at
movies
him!
and
Look at
things.
him! He's eating all that. You see that
Yes,
trash?
yes. And
Whoa!
he is inventing stuff to stop forest fires. So he's using this idea of oxygen and taking the oxygen away so that you can corral fires that are happening in wildfires. But it takes a brilliant person to invent something like that that will work. This Mr. Trash Wheel thing is amazing. It's essentially a sea rake. It's something that just goes along,
that's
chomp,
a
chomp,
good way.
chomp.
Yeah.
Yay for Mr. Trash Wheel.
Oh,
I'm a
no.
fan. And you know what? I let him keep the name. You can keep, as long as you do this fine, fine work.
Maybe you can be Mr. Trashville Jr.
Uh,
or the second. You know.
yeah, those
The
are
second.
goyish.
So the second. Or so what about you could be a
I could be Dubit Ben Trash Wheel.
Yes, you could be a friend of the Trash Wheel.
Or yeah, or Trash Wheel.
I'm surprised they don't have more videos. Let's see.
Yeah, right. Are they on YouTube or
Mr.
anything?
Trash, yes, I'm gonna see.
I wish we'd seen that now. It's not really showing anything. Let me see. But let me turn the volume down in case the music is copyright. Nope.
Give it.
I messed it up. Well, I think it's going to be the music volume knob is.
You always are, yeah. Mr. Trash Wheel.
Well, anyway, you guys can look it up yourselves, but I think it's a marvelous thing, and I'm sorry I missed it at the library. I'm sorry I made fun of you, Mr. Trash Wheel. I think.
Here's him on TikTok. He's got his own TikTok.
Is there a person? Is there like the inventor's name somewhere?
I don't know. I don't understand that. I feel like, somebody, maybe department, I don't know.
Log in to watch it.
Let me ask, I'll ask who invented Mr. Trash Wheel.
Yeah.
Why is my phone turning all the time?
And you know, there's got to be behind every
Who invented Mr. Trash Wheel?
behind every Mr. Trash Wheel, there's a Mrs. Trash Wheel who's kind of, really the brains.
John Kellett, an environmental scientist, shipbuilder, and engineer, invented Mr. Trash Wheel in 2008. He's a solar powered floating trash collector that's designed to clean up Inner Harbor and keep litter from floating.
Inner Harbor? Is he from Baltimore?
Yes.
Whoa!
It said he got the idea from seeing trash flow under a bridge on his way to work. You should interview him.
And why, since 2008, is there only one prototype? I mean, have they made?
No, I don't know how many there are.
Yeah.
Here's the New Yorker wrote the promise of Mr. Trash. He has his own documentary.
We got to see that today. Because also, imagine if Pete Seeger had this like 30 years ago when he was trying to clean up the Hudson. It would save so many people, out there with waders and things and boots and nets and stuff. Seeger would be like, "Well, here's Mr. Trash Wheel." So, but he didn't, and they cleaned up the Hudson anyway. So this guy's cleaning up. He's got clean body parts out of the thing where the ship crashed.
I don't even know how you. He said he was driving to work and he saw garbage under a bridge, but he's an engineer. Whoa.
Whoa.
Like, look at all that garbage he's taking.
Yes, it's amazing. And how many people? Yeah.
Trash Wheel has collected 38,000 pounds of garbage in a single day.
In a day. This man has
solar power
tons.
Produces electricity.
Yeah. It's genius. I mean, God, and how many people have passed by something on the Long Island Railroad while the train's going, or been on a boat, or seen something and gone, God, I wish there was somebody who could fix that. Or what would be $1 million idea that those guys on Shark Tank should do? Here's a guy who freaking just
Trash Wheel.
Yeah, I'm going to invent something.
Oh, wait, it says there's Mr. Trash Wheel and then there's Professor Trash Wheel.
Who came, yeah.
So Mr. Trash Wheel is a tourist attraction. Professor Trash Wheel.
Yeah. Who is Professor Trash?
That's fake.
Oh.
I'm not sure if that's.
Well, yeah, at the moment he's fighting for tenure, so it says
he has a Wikipedia.
Really? Oh, good. Professor or Mr.?
Mr. Trash Wheel.
Yeah.
Overview history. they have purple for the Oreos.
I don't know. I would probably come up with Mr. Trash Toilet. There's this giant toilet bowl going across, and you put things. The lid opens. It scoops in the garbage.
How come there's only one?
Yeah, since 2008. Maybe it literally costs like $1.5 million to build. And because I mean the thing is monstrous. It's not like a cute little toy thing. That this is how a real one would work. He built a real one, and he's been using it ever since. So that's
it's a more vessel. So we might have seen it, not knowing what it was.
Wow. Yeah. Well, we're not really down by. We haven't been to Inner Harbor really since we've lived here.
We gotta find Mr.
Well, yeah. He
said he personified it by adding googly eyes and giving it a name.
Exactly what I would do. So yay for Mr. Trash Wheel. Anyway, it's 9:30 in the morning Eastern Time here on Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my wonderful wife, and all of you watching at home or maybe not at home. Let's assume you're watching at home because it's a Saturday morning. But wherever you're watching this program, thank you. And hope you're having a good time. More good stuff to be had. I mean, we haven't even really started our usual stuff. We haven't done Grilly Times, Bunyan Watch, Story Time with Rabbi Saul, plus Robin Huber coming in to talk about theater and stuff, and our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, where we go to Akin, Colorado, and my brand new song, which is posted already on YouTube, and you can find other places, but it'll be making its debut here today on Dave's Gone By. It's called Stupid Pupil, with apologies and courtesy to Neil Sedaka and Howard Greenfield. Anyway, what else this week? What else can we talk about? It's been a really interesting week in terms of wildlife. Now, we've been going over this week after week here. We have a nice little house in suburban northern Maryland and a backyard. Not even the biggest backyard, but a nice, decently sized backyard with trees and shrubs and things and places that animals like to hide and eat. We also have a shed in the backyard, a shed that I literally have not opened since we've lived here. Before we moved in, I opened the shed, checked it out. There's like carpeting and not carpeting down on it, but like a roll of carpeting and nothing else in it. This is like whatever they had in there. They cleaned it up if they had a lawnmower or a weed whacker. It's a shed. And nothing, as far as I know, is in the shed. But the shed itself is built on not the ground or like a foundation, but just piles of big heavy rocks. So they built a rock foundation for it and put the shed on it. And then months ago, I noticed, well, one of the rocks came loose. What the hell did I put it back? How does a rock come loose? Wind, who knows? And then later on I noticed, well, there's another rock and more rock loosening stuff. And I'm like, what the hell? What is going on? And then many months ago, before the winter season, we saw paddling around our backyard a groundhog, a woodchuck. And we named him Fiddle Faddle because the way he was, like he's got this paddling sort of back and forth, Fiddle Faddle, Fiddle Faddle. So Fiddle Faddle, and don't go near him, but we loved him because it was cute to see, because we'd seen bunnies, we get birds, we get squirrels for sure, and deer. Every once in a while we will see deer in the backyard. But a groundhog, a woodchuck, oh boy. Now, this was also worrying because I noticed at one point that outside the shed, suddenly there was like this mound of earth. And I was like, what are the gardeners doing? What the hell's going on with that? How is there suddenly like dirt? And it didn't occur to me until I guess later. Did we take a picture? Oh. This is not our picture. This is a generic groundhog, woodchuck, Punxsutawney sort of picture. But I was like, what's going on? And then it just occurred to me. I was like, oh my God. And I've seen the woodchuck go under our shed. So what he did was he pulled the rock away. And no, we don't live near Rockaway anymore. We're in Maryland now. But he pulled the rocks away. Dug, probably when we were asleep. I don't know if they're night creatures. And lived there. This was rent-free, right? Squatters, is all the New York Post talks about, squatters. squatting under our shed. Okay, fine. He's cute. I don't care. Maybe he's got a little missus in there. They're making fiddle-faddle babies. Why not? We're here to enjoy some of the wildlife, some of the fact that we live in a place that isn't an urban concrete jungle where the only things you see are birds and squirrels. And then, thank you for this, a few weeks back, we also live in an area, and we didn't even clock this when we first moved here, that a lot of the streets and the little communities are places like Fox Run and Fox Hollow. And so every once in a while we'll see a fox. In fact, a couple of weeks ago we talked about this. We were jolted out of our nightly TV watching by hearing, ah! What is that? We thought a kid was screaming, being like run over by a car. And all it was a horny female fox, a vixen, literally, in heat, outside like the front, on the pavement, in the gutter by the cars parked across the street, yowling for male fox company, which apparently she got, because over the past couple of weeks, what we have seen is foxes in our yard. And then where do the foxes live? Under the shed. So, I look this up. I'm like, well, what the hell? We have fiddle-faddle living there. What could be going on? And then I looked at, foxes eat groundhogs and woodchucks, and I'm like, oh my God. So I had seen fiddle-faddle about 2 weeks ago. So I was very heartened to see. He probably went somewhere else to live. He's perfectly fine. He went away. And the foxes apparently moved in, because what happened was mommy fox found a daddy fox, and we have literally a family of beautiful red foxes. Oh, Nisbeth, I'm coming to get you, honey. Red foxes, I can do that, living under the shed. And they would come out for a couple of days, and it was delightful because we would watch them play. They roll around on the grass because there's two adults, so one adult will keep watch, and then the kids would eat and just kind of sun themselves, and they chase each other and have a little bit of fun. And and yes, one or two chased a bunny, but didn't catch the bunny so far as we saw. And then one time I did see a fox running around with a squirrel in its jaws last week. So, no big love of squirrels, mainly because I grew up with them. I've been living in both Brooklyn and Long Island. Squirrels are ubiquitous. It's not something cute and special like a bunny rabbit. But, so, and the squirrels here have destroyed like 2 of our bird feeders. So if the foxes are getting rid of some of the squirrels or keeping them away, win-win. But I don't want them eating fiddle-faddle, and I don't want them eating little bunnies. We've been seeing young and baby bunnies all over the place. So mixed feelings about these foxes. And and my wife and I were like, we kind of have to deal with this. Because if they're bringing like animal skeletons under the shed, what the hell are they doing there? They're making this their home now. Are they going to be killing rabbits and other creatures? Are they making tons of feces? It is going to be a real better do something, better get rid of them. So I call the local wildlife preserve people, the local, like, hey, what do you do about having raccoons in your attic or something building something in your chimney? What do you do? And a guy gets on with me, and apparently supposedly this was like a free service, like not calling particular animal trapper kind of things, but no, the number they have on this thing, the guy's like, well, it's about $400 just for this. Oh, and here's the kicker. He said, I can trap them. Okay, but every fox that I trap, I can get 5 or 6 out of there, this whole family. But by Maryland law, they have to be euthanized. I'm like, what do you mean they have to be euthanized? I don't kill them. Just put them in a cage, bring them down to the local lake or the bay or even if they don't need water, some woodsy area, Mace Chapel, something like that, and let them do what they do. I don't want to kill them. They're beautiful. They're not rabid. They haven't come after me. Why? I said, that's the thing. If I trap them, I gotta kill them. Or you would be responsible for having to bring them to rehab, which is something like, well, he would bring them to rehab, but we would be on the hook for something like $150 per fox, so that they're not killed and that they're properly rehabbed in another. I'm like, so you're telling me it's going to be like $1,000 to deal with this problem? And I said, well, you have another option. Is we can wait until they're out or lure them out. I'm like, yeah. And then seal up the place where they are. And we've got mesh and we go do this and go all around the place. I'm like, okay, fine. Great, but put some wires around, but not barbed wire, but put something so that it can't get back in under the shed. Great. What do you think that will, that'll run about $1,200. I'm like, it's a fucking fence. It's not even a fence. It's like just wire blocking some animal. And I guess foxes probably have sharp teeth, so it has to be something they can't chew open. And I'm like, I'll call you back. I got my constant line is, I'll talk to my wife. I can't make which is true. I can't make a financial or any kind of decision like that without talking to my wife. But thank you for the information, click. I'm like, okay. I'm like, hon, I think we're gonna have foxes. They're pretty, they're beautiful. We like seeing them romp. And if they kill the occasional other animal, well, they and my wife said, they also eat mice. So they're gonna keep us from having mice around. And I'm like, all right, great, fine, we'll live. So, and then maybe when they're out, all we'll do is we'll take the rocks that they moved away, that they didn't even move away, that the groundhog moved away, and stuff it back in, maybe with a little crazy glue or some shit, and just like, and she also says, like, spray either peppermint or some lavender crap, that a smell that they're not gonna like, and that'll keep them from wanting to go back in. But meanwhile, the happy ending to all this is that yesterday, we're sitting there, we're in our upstairs kind of living room, den room, watching the tube, and look out into the yard, and there's Fiddle Faddle, or another Fiddle Faddle. It might not be the same Fiddle Faddle, but a groundhog. And the groundhog is thumping around. He sees us because we open the door to wave at him, and he darts back, and he goes under the shed. So, and we haven't seen the foxes in about 4 days. So I'm figuring they got old enough, they raised the babies, they moved out of the shed area, and they're off living their beautiful fox lives. They're gone. And then Fiddle Faddle moved back in. Maybe Fiddle Faddle went to like Florida. He's like a Jewish snowbird. He just said like, okay, I'm gonna vacate, and he does an Airbnb, and the fox family moves in. He said, don't make too much of a mess. I know you're gonna have babies. You can fit a family of 4 very comfortably here under the shed. It's big enough. But I'm coming back. So they leave. He goes back in. But today, this morning, while preparing the show, I look out into the yard. I see the big mama or papa fox rattling the leaves and the foliage in the back of our yard. And I'm like, oh, how is this working? What is going on? How are they divvying up the space? Because they're natural enemies, presumably. Then again, dogs and cats can live comfortably in a household. You need my earphones, sorry. How is this working out? That both the groundhog and the biggest of the foxes are still alive and coexisting somehow, and possibly sharing the same home. I'm still thinking the foxes are gone and not living under the shed anymore, but still living in the area. This is their kind of, sort of like they pay a nostalgic visit to where they used to live and come on by and forage a little bit. But it's Fiddle Faddle's place again. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm quite curious about that. But I'm very, very happy that, obviously quite happy, that neither has killed the other. They can't do this in the Middle East, but animals, foxes and groundhogs can do this. They can coexist in a yard, a small little space. Who knew? Who knew? But anyway, that was wildlife for the weekend. We've also had a ubiquitous and beautiful blue jay going apeshit in the yard. He's been on the bird feeder. He's all flopping on the ground. He's flying. He's coming back. He's flying back. Uh, yeah, predators of adult groundhogs are foxes. So I don't know how that's working out. But we have so this blue jay, and they're beautiful, regal, lovely birds, but they're bad birds apparently. They scare off other kinds of birds and then push them out of the way, and then they'll eat what other birds won't eat, including dead birds and things. But I don't know, we've seen the occasional cardinal still, and we've seen other small birds. So again, there's a coexisting thing going on, a natural balance thing that is wonderful. And it is so great to see this blue jay just taking over our yard, dive bombing, coming in, showing himself, not really being afraid of anything. Because blue jay's got swagger, right? Cardinals, they're here, they're gone. They see anything, they're flicking away. Blue jay's like, hey, don't. It's like a squirrel. Like, don't bother me. I'm eating. And the bunnies too are still around. So it's quite a lovely time here in northern Maryland. Now that the rains have stopped, it is a lovely morning here. And I say this so rarely when I get on the air here on Saturday mornings, because the joke, one of the running jokes of this program is it could be beautiful weather all week long. I get on the show on Saturdays, and it's grim and pouring and drizzling and hailing and sleeting and horses falling from the sky. And then as soon as the show's over, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it stops. And we have beautiful sunny weather again. But when I talk to you, trying to convince you how nice it is where we live, it never is, except it is right now. We're actually having a very, very beautiful day. Might get a little warm-ish in Maryland, but that's kind of nice. What else do we talk about before we get to Greeley Times, before we get to some of the other stuff that we have to do? We did, and I credit Joyce for this, for getting this done. We wanted, because we don't have a working, or didn't have, a working doorbell since we have lived in this house almost 2 years. And you figure, how can you live without a doorbell? I mean, what if someone comes to the door? And it's kind of wonderful, the fact that you don't really have to worry about someone coming to the door, because 99.whatever% of the time, it's not something you need to deal with, right? Back in the day, it's like, oh God, a neighbor's at the door, somebody's collecting for the mail person's at the door, this. Now it's sort of like, if somebody really needs to reach me, they've got my email, they can text me, they got my phone, somebody wants to reach me on Facebook, they can find me easily. Well, who needs to actually come to my door unannounced? Somebody that I'm not expecting. If I'm expecting them, I'll keep an eye on the door. I'll open the door a little bit. If I know somebody, a work person's coming here to fix some things or to clean or so forth, I'll be like, oh, I'll just every couple of minutes I'll check and make sure they're here, because they know if they ring the bell, or they don't know if they ring the bell. Not only because I'm half deaf, but our bell doesn't ring. But that's not the safest way to live. So we bought a couple of weeks ago one of those ring jobbies. One of those things that you put on the door that functions as both a doorbell and a video camera and an audio thing. It's both audio and video. So you can kind of, that little thing, you push it, you get alerted on your phone, or probably can do it on your computer too, on your device, and suddenly you're seeing like who is standing there. And I know this is old technology. Actually, people have been able to do this for ever, to see who's there. But it's this modern way of doing it. You see it on your phone. You see whether this is a person you want to deal with or talk to. You can press a button and talk to them and see them. You see them coming up the path. Because one of the weird things about the way this works is you post it on the side of your door, but the person is standing all the way over here knocking on the door. So how's the eye of the door seeing the person when they're over here? But it's such a wide-angle fisheye lens. And it also captures them walking up the walk. And it automatically video records the event. Whether you want it to or not, it's sort of like, because the minute they leave, and the minute they're done talking to you, it suddenly shows, do you want to see a replay? I'm like, Not really, but sure. And then you press it, and suddenly the whole thing is right there for you. So if somebody is stealing your Amazon packages, or someone is making a mess, or someone is doing something, bad, or it's like, oh no, I missed so and so. They were there. Oh, they really were. There it is. There you can literally save it and keep it. But you have to do a lot of deleting. If you don't want it, if it's just a male person or somebody like a neighbor doing something or other, suddenly it's like, okay, do you want this video? It's like, delete. Are you sure you don't want it? Yes, delete. And then he'll show you like a picture. It's like, do I want it? Delete. Delete. I don't want this using up. I don't know if it's on a cloud somewhere. I don't know what's keeping it. Is it on your phone or is it? I have no idea. But and we could have. I have no aptitude, no skills with my hands or with drills or anything like that. My wife does, but she's like, no, we have a handy person coming for another reason. Let him do it. So she dealt with all the thing of loading it up and getting the software going on this stuff. I feel now like those people that we made fun of in the 1980s. There's oh, Grandpa can't program the VCR. But Grandpa, it's simple. It's on, play, pause, forward, fast forward. And then you use here's a remote. It has some words on it. It's like I can't. Just set it up. I can't. And now I'm at that age. I'm literally at that age of like download software, connect to this. You need this, copy this password. This password has to go here. Oh, but then you have to do this. And are you connecting this way? Where's your Wi-Fi? What's your Wi-Fi? It's like, and it's all doable and it's all step by step. And if I were 30, I'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever. But now that I'm 60, I'm like, Jesus Christ, somebody else do this. My wife can do this part, fine, let her do this part. And the guy at the handy guy, who's really, really nice fella, he can screw it in, he can drill it in, he can post it. Fantastic. Let him. Stuff that I could technically do if I had the hand-eye coordination of someone who almost failed shop class in high school. And if I wasn't 60 and feeling like, I do this and every single thing would be like, okay, this is going forward. Now what? Now, please go back to, why didn't this step work? What did I not press? Why is the audio not, it's like, cannot deal anymore. I cannot deal anymore with anything except beautiful bee. Beautiful, beautiful bee. Here on this Saturday morning, May 25th, as we do the 945th episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the Stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz. And remember, you can find all our older shows at davesgoneby.org. davesgoneby.org. Literally, our first episode, audio only, because it was a radio show, is on there. Our 100th, our 400th, our 800th, our 900th. Virtually every program that we've ever produced and put on here is available for free for you to stream or either download at davesgoneby.org. We also have a portal at archive.org, like a channel there, with all our interviews and all our episodes, archive.org. Plus, we have a YouTube channel that has a ton of our content, but not all of it, because we've been muted for copyright reasons of songs we played. But, have some stuff on YouTube. We also have our audio archives at castbox.fm, castbox.fm, which is really for podcasting. So you can't watch the videos that we've been doing for the last 7 years or so. But you can hear all our shows, all the episodes are right there, Castbox. So if you're on the go and you just want to download the show as a listening experience while you're on a train, while you're driving, while you're anywhere, you can do that via castbox.fm. So there's a lot of ways to access the same content. Your best portal, your best approach is davesgoneby.com, and of course also this Facebook page, Dave's Gone By, on which you are watching this program. Anyway, oh my God, it's like almost 10 o'clock already. We have Robin HUBER coming to talk to me in about 45 minutes. We've got Rabbi Saul doing story time. We have a new song called Stupid Pupil. We have Bunyan Watch, the Colorado Limerick of the Damned. But are you feeling criminal, dear? Are you ready for some big, scary, big city crimes of like Greeley, Colorado? Oh, I think you are. Which is why I think it's time for Greeley Times. Yes, indeed, Greeley Times it is. These are based on actual stories that are published weekly in the Greeley Tribune. So they go into the police files, public record, of people who call the cops for problems, for things that they see in the community that they want the police to investigate. I'm putting my remote chicken in so that there was a phone ringing before. Let me see if it'll ring again. They always call back. Here we go. Oh, this is a caller. Oh, guess where they are? They're on 8th Avenue. Are you okay, babe? Caller on 8th Avenue. Oh, you know I'm going to need these. These are my special chicken glasses. Reported a man defecating in an alley. We're doing this one special for Pooey over there. Hello, Pooey. Now, the caller did not want to press charges because the guy was apparently pressing chorizos, but police spoke to the man about not defecating in public. There's a good conversation to have. There's a conversation. That's if I were a police officer, that'd be my happy part of the day. It's like, so sir, there are these things called plumbing, indoor plumbing. So you don't have to pull your pants down and just go. I'm sure the guy said, I had to go. When you gotta go, you gotta go. But, you know. Oh, wow. Busy day. All right, another caller. A caller at apartments on 20th Street reported stepping on a needle. I'm hoping with shoes on. I don't know. She, yeah, no, I would be. Now, she was also scared about, quote, people from the cartel and prostitutes there. And this is on 20th Street. Usually you figure like 8th Street or 8th Street or 3rd Avenue, 1st Avenue down there. You don't figure 20th Street would have whatever's going on there. But watch out for needles if you're down along that way in Greeley, Colorado. Oh, this is going to be nice. You're going to like this one. This is, and I'll even get Potato for this one. Hey, Potato. We have an awe alert. I'm not sure we'll go with that. No, too creepy. Yeah. Nah. It needs something more gentle and delicate. Oh, that sounded like an awe. A little bit. That sounded like... Oh, play the whole thing. Well, this is an awe alert because you're going to hear it and go, oh. So these are some of my favorites. This happened at 1 o'clock in the afternoon just a week or two ago. A caller on 17th Street reported that her pregnant Cocker Spaniel was stuck under the front porch. Oh, you're making like a scare face. I'm sure they got him out. The dog's belly was too big to get out. So police helped free dirt. Remove dirt to free the dog. What did you say? Oh.
Get fiddle faddle, do it 5
seconds.
Right.
Bring the groundhog in. Baby, the Cocker Spaniel. That's so sweet. How did it get stuck under in the first place but it couldn't get out? I don't know. Anyway, I'm glad. See, happy ending. It gets an awe. Oh. You know what? I gotta switch to my other ear here. Where are you from? Oh, Canberra Street Drive. We lived in Greeley for 13 years. I've never heard of Canberra Street Drive. Well, anyway, a caller there said his wife was drunk and locked him out of his house. and she hadn't let him inside for days.
Maybe he's the one who pooped outside.
That's it. I went to her porch. I was going to go under the porch, but there was a Cocker Spaniel there. You know, and then there's foxes over there. So I said, well, anyway. I feel like the weird thing is, I feel like not Canberra Drive, but I feel like we've done that story before somewhere else.
No.
Like somebody locked out for days.
Yeah, but not with the wife thing. I think just I don't
Yeah.
know that one.
Now, here's another one. Here's yeah. Ringing off the hook today. A caller on 26th Avenue Court said a man just rang the caller's doorbell. Hey, what happened to my bell? Wait a minute. Oh, here. Oh, put it all the way over here. Rang the caller's doorbell and asked him to call the police. Why? Well, the man was drunk and didn't have a ride home.
Okay.
I guess, I don't know.
This is Uber. Shouldn't Uber be the appropriate call?
Yeah, Uber. But actually, a cop should probably do that.
Yeah.
If it's the difference between you getting in the car and driving yourself.
But I don't think he had a car.
Right. So, or I guess not the wherewithal to Uber. Maybe not everybody has Uber.
Yeah.
Or Lyft, or not everybody does it.
So I remember a lot of like bars and restaurants said if you're getting intoxicated, they would call a cab for you.
Right, and sometimes when you live near schools, back at when we were in Colorado,
rides.
Yeah, from like midnight until 5 a.m. If you were coming back from a bar, they had a fund or whatever, and there would be free rides
like a van or something,
home or back to the dorm, back to campus, which was, it's kind of a good thing.
Yeah.
It keeps a drunk and dangerous person off the road. Mm-hmm. And so, it costs a couple of bucks, and the town is paying for it. But you know what? Why not? Mm-hmm. Worth it. So I think the guy did the right thing. It's like, call the cops, a strange drunk man.
Yeah.
And please, necesito.
They got it right home.
Yeah. They don't follow up. We don't know if he did. But anyway, let's do an elsewhere, because we have a lot still to do on this episode of Dave's Gone By. So we have a pretty cool elsewhere, but it's not so. This is the odd part. All these things about Greeley, we don't even live in Greeley. This elsewhere comes from Pikesville, Maryland.
Is it the trash wheel?
It's not Mr. Trash Wheel, and it is not our beloved Melvin G. Mintz, who's also a Pikesville area resident. No. Now, did you hear about this? This is from 3 weeks ago, and it is freaking scary shit, because it's going to affect everybody. And it's not the fact that it's local is an amazing thing. The fact that we live just a few miles from here, but that this is happening and will happen and will keep happening. And this was reported by NPR, National Public Radio, back in late April. A Maryland high school athletic director is facing criminal charges. Okay, now, the minute you hear that, what do you think is going to be?
I see it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But you're going to think, criminal athletic director, probably touching.
Bribes, because they have a whole thing with. Yeah, remember when we were in Colorado, there was a whole thing with athletes, and they're trying to now, I don't know if it passed, but they were trying to pay, like, a lot of times student athletes got stuff. Remember, the bank lady said they would come asking for that money, but there's a whole thing with, like, can you pay non-professional athletes, and that's the big thing now. Right,
yeah, I didn't think of that. I would have thought, they found a stash of child pornography, or the guy was prostituting girls, or he touched people, or this serial molester. No, nothing like that. But in some ways, for all of us, worse. A Maryland high school athletic director is facing criminal charges. Police say that he used artificial intelligence to duplicate the voice of Pikesville High School principal Eric Eisvert.
No, so he didn't do it. Somebody used it to do his voice.
Right. The athletic director used AI to grab the voice of... AI, baby. These recordings, so he made recordings of the principal. The athletic director
did a recording of the principal.
Right. Okay. But he obviously got the principal's voice to fed it into AI. And then had the voice saying other things.
Whoa.
He made recordings that led the community to believe that Principal Eisvert said racist and anti-Semitic things about teachers and students.
But so the person who made it was who, the athletics director?
Right.
Okay.
But it
How
wasn't
did they find
real.
it out?
Here's the deal.
That's
Baltimore County Police Chief Robert McCullough had a news conference and said, quote, "We now have conclusive evidence that the recording was not authentic.
How?
It was generated through artificial intelligence
How do you
technology."
figure it out?
How do you tell? Because I've heard it, and
Maybe the person who made it confessed. That would be
he did. Well, he did. Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the deal. Dejan Darian, age 31, was arrested on charges of stalking, theft,
Oh, God.
disruption of school operations,
Stalking.
and retaliation against a witness. So the wild headline-making details of the case aside, it emphasizes the serious potential for criminal misuse of AI,
Yes.
said a digital forensics professor at UC Berkeley. So here's the deal. For just a few dollars, anyone can harness artificial intelligence to make audio and visual deepfakes. And detection software is not
Didn't they
foolproof.
do that with Tom Cruise a while ago? Somebody did some kind of commercial or something, and it was a deep fake with Tom Cruise.
Yeah, they can do it with celebrities. That's the most likely targets now, of course. But here's the deal. This guy was not a celebrity. This guy was just the principal of a high school. And this athletic director, Dejan Darian, had a vendetta.
Oh, well.
So here's the deal. What's poignant here, said the UC Berkeley professor, is that this is a Baltimore school principal. It's not Taylor Swift, right? It's not Joe Biden.
How do we know it's not Taylor Swift?
Anybody can create this stuff and weaponize it. So here's the scheme. Here's what this athletic director did. Darian's alleged scheme began in January as an attempt to retaliate against Eisvert, who cited his, quote, work performance challenges. Eisvert launched an investigation into Darian over mishandling $2,000 in school funds. I mean, the fact that it started over $2,000 is amazing to me. Money that was paid to an assistant girls coach who never did the job or never showed up or whatever. Now, Darian also fired another coach without Eisvert's approval. So this athletic director, under his own auspices, fired somebody without getting the principal's permission. So Eisvert wasn't happy about that, and Eisvert warned that Darian's contract might not be renewed next semester. So now Darian's on the warpath. Darian took revenge thanks to the faked recording, and of course, this recording got out, and it was like saying bad things about blacks and Jews.
Was it posted on social media?
Oh yeah, it went on Facebook, it went on Twitter.
Wow. Wow.
He wanted it out there, and now
okay, I get it.
here you have a high school principal caught, in a moment somewhere in some speech or at a restaurant gathering, saying terrible things about black students being unable to perform, and that Jews were responsible for these things. Fake, completely fake. And the school, well, go figure, not knowing these were fake, was suddenly inundated with threatening messages. The head of the union representing the principal was threatened and harassed because they're apparently defending somebody who's a terrible racist and anti-Semite, right? Darian, this is the athletic director, was arrested.
But how did they find out?
I don't know how I guess they could feed it through a thing, or
yeah, but you don't know who made something like that.
Yeah, and how can you not? I mean, if you listen to it, you want to play it. It's not nice.
No, I want to figure out how they. I'm more.
Because if you listen to it, it would sound like you were in the back of a room taping him.
I'm more interested in how they found out.
It doesn't in the article. It doesn't say what software, or whether it's just so obvious that the principal wouldn't have said these things.
No, there has to be like.
But I honestly don't know the.
How they found out.
Yeah, like when they suddenly realize, oh my God, this can not only. I mean, it sounds kind of real, but how this isn't real.
And how did they know who did it?
That's interesting also. How they would have traced it back to Darian. Unless it was Darian who was posting it, saying, listen to what he said, which would have been really, really dumb.
No, I'm reading. I'm trying to get something that's non.
Yeah. See if there's anything about how they literally caught it.
Yeah.
Now, I understand the trial has not happened yet. So we don't know how maybe all the details about it, and the police saying,
Oh, because he used the Baltimore County Public Schools their own AI system, so they probably found like they probably could do some computer stuff. That's what I'm guessing.
They did a breadcrumb trace.
That's what I'm thinking because it says it was done.
And that it came out of an AI system. That it wasn't just a recording. That it was fed. It wasn't just somebody who got an MP3 off their device.
Yeah. So it says somebody who specializes in digital forensics. So that's what it was. Yeah.
Maybe that UC Berkeley professor. Maybe he was the one that they turned
Somebody said he helped this expert in digital forensic guy said he helped analyze the recording for the police.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, and so I guess he figured out.
Wow. Wow. So yeah. So here's the deal. The athletics director, who is now accused of doing all this, of creating the deepfake and posting it, was about to fly to Houston Airport, and he was stopped by security for carrying a gun in his packed bags. So this is the athletic director of a high school, right? Not only is he brilliant enough to be doing like this deep fake stuff and having that devious mind of sort of white collar crime, but the guy is walking around with a gun and trying to fly with it in his packed luggage. So they stopped him, and then they ran some stuff, and they realized, oh, he's wanted for this. And now he's out on bond, and the trial starts in mid-June. But here's the really sad part. Here's really the messed up part. The Principal Eisvert, has been out on leave, I hope paid leave, since the scandal. I mean, I hope for all the things, his reputation, I assume has been fully cleaned and cleared up, but it never 100% is, right? Because there's people who won't know the story, who won't read the fact that, oh, it wasn't real. Oh, it wasn't him at all.
They're saying that the law can't catch up with technology, right? So that's like.
I mean, in this case, it did.
Saying, yeah.
But how many times has it not? How rare is this really? And over the next, 2 to 5 years, how much will this blossom? How much will somebody be able to take my voice or my wife's voice or your voice and say, and feed it through, say, please have them read this script and say these things, and pow, and there you are. And I mean, as AI gets better and better and better, be able to physically take us, not just audio, because it was just an audio file, but our visual, us, and have us on camera like they were already 5 or 10 years ago, when we would see Humphrey Bogart in a commercial for something, and they paid for the rights to use his likeness and his image, and suddenly he'd see in Casablanca, his mouth would be moving, and say, boy, I could sure go from some Oreo cookies right now, right? I mean, this is not 2001 Space Odyssey future. This is now. This is it. This is, kids using AI for everything, and nefarious people using AI to create chaos and havoc.
To make the bone weasels.
I did, yeah. I mean, we were talking about this 2 months ago already.
Yeah.
We came up. I came up. This was not AI generated. The name of a fake band called Janusz and the Boom Weasels. I just thought it was the most wonderful title. And Joyce and I were messing around with AI at that point, and she fed the name into the Copilot or whatever the AI system was, and said, hey, can you make up a backstory for a band called Janusz and the...
It made up songs.
It did.
Remember?
Yeah.
Poems,
Lyrics.
Yeah.
I didn't make up I'll bet we can even ask it if it was more generative. Say, sing it, make up the melody. Do an entire song, Janusz and the Boom Weasels. And it made up a whole backstory of them being...
How do I know that you're real?
Well, because I'm Jewish, how do I know that is real? Yeah, no, that didn't... I'm sorry, that gets a comedy bell. It does. Anyway, let's get back to Grilly Times and then do some more stuff. Oh, here it goes. Here comes Grilly Times. It's one more call, one more item of Grilly Times. Oh, gosh, my chicken fell off. I'll answer the, it's a tie line. Hello. All right, so a caller on 24th Street Road said she uses a van for camping, but several men have come up to her asking if she was, quote, open for business. The caller wanted advice on what she could do to make it stop. Well, I'm thinking first she could stop wearing the halter top with MILF along the side of it.
So weird.
I can't think.
They might think she's a dispensary.
Oh, I was thinking.
No, I think that when they see the camper, they probably think she pulls in the neighborhood, sells some, substances, and moves on, right?
It's like Cheech and Chong's Nice Dreams. And we have it for you here. Hey man, come on. I don't know why she would talk like both Cheech and Chong.
That's amazing. Right?
Yeah, man. I can't do Cheech either. It's like, we have the weed. I still like, even if I want to sound like Cheech, I sound like Speedy Gonzalez. I don't get that. But anywho, what I get is that this, on Dave's Gone By, was Greeley Times.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool.
No, he was not.
I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi!
Yippee-yi, 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 yi-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi.
So I'm thinking, what's sexier and more titillating than showing everything than like, well, I'll be, because you see a naked lady walking around somewhere. What do you need, Pep?
You wanted the word of the day. I didn't get it.
No. I'm going to do story time,
Okay.
and right now I'm going to do one of the great segments of all time.
Your guest is coming when?
According to 11.
Oh, okay. 10:30. I got
10:45. Yeah. So more titillating. A naked woman coming is shocking. It's sort of like, but a striptease artist is like, it's the what's not shown or the anticipation of what is or may not be shown is really interesting. So for many weeks now, I've been doing Bunion Watch, where you look at my feet and note the size and shape and color of my bunions.
It comes up in the closed captioning is Bunyan, like Paul Bunyan.
No. What, we should read Paul Bunyan for Bunion Watch, actually. But no. But here's the deal. For today, I'm going to do something just slightly different. I'm going to leave my socks on. Yeah, I know. Alert the media. I'm not going to take my socks off for this week's Bunion Watch. You're going to have to use your imagination. It's like radio. All-time radio. You're going to imagine what my foot looks like under my sock. How big is my bunion really when it's not sheathed in Hanes cotton? This is going to be a very exciting thing, ladies and gentlemen. So take your digitalis and your heart medicines, get the children out of the room. It's time for this week's Bunion Watch.
She's Bunyan, she really is a fun one, she's Bunyan. Listen, doctor, to my plea, it's time for bunionectomy. Bunions, they're a pain in the feet. These feet of mine have got to go, please get these bunions off my toes. My alpha would always have my alpha bunions. Bunions, painful, bunions, painful.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, except I will say that my bunions are not painful at the moment. They're fine. Nothing, as far as I can tell, has changed since last week or the many weeks that we've been doing Bunion Watch on Dave's Gone By. So let's take a look at Dave's bunions. But this week, oh boy, you're going to have to see my bunion through the sock. See, it's almost invisible from that angle. Bum, psh, bum, psh, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-da-dum. Let's make it a real close-up look. Ba-dum, 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 pum, 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 pum. Oh, that hurt my muscle. Okay, but now let's see. That was my right foot. That was my bigger bunion. Now let's take a look at the smaller bunion on my left foot. Let me entertain you. Let me wear a sock. Oh yeah. I will do some steps. Pum, pum, pum. I will do some schleps. Pum, pum, pum. Look at that. Oh, let me take from this angle. Ladies and gentlemen, bunion watch. Those two are my bunions. Hon, were you titillated? Were you tremendously excited and thrilled? Yeah. This is what we do on the program. Idiocy, like bunion watch.
It stopped the internet's rolling from your bunion.
Oh, it would do that. Yeah, I'm not getting full. I don't have 3 bars on my Wi-Fi today. I'm not sure why. It's kind of. I've only got like the 2 stripy things, so who knows what's going on. I turned off the Wi-Fi on my phone. Just I thought that would help, but it's not. So anyway, I hope you're getting this. I hope you're enjoying this on your Facebook feeds, and remember, of course, that after this show is over, it is automatically saved on Facebook. So if you miss all or part of it, or if you want to watch some of it again, it's going to be there for as long as Facebook is on. And then we also, of course, take all the archives and put them on davesgoneby.com, archive.org, and the audio at castbox.fm. So we have a bit of time. I'm going to save the song for later, and we've got, of course, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned when we're going to Aiken. But we haven't enough time that I want to bring Rabbi Saul Solomon in for, oh dear, okay. Help Rabbi Saul get his accoutrements on, and then I'll have some tea. Yeah, that would be lovely. So, Rabbi Saul, who has been with us since our very first episode, almost 22 years ago now, right? Back in 2002. He's still with us. He's still doing stuff. Sometimes rabbinical reflections, as he's done the last couple of times. Sometimes he'll do a song, a little spiel. He does a lot of our interviews, but he's not doing our interview today. I am. However, he is going to join us to do story time, where he's going to read from a book for children that is called The P Word. Be afraid. Be very afraid, because he's Jewish. He's very Jewish. Here is the one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi Saul Solomon.
Tell me a story, tell me a story, tell me a story, remember what you said. You promised me, you said you would, you gotta give in, so I'll be good. Tell me a story, then I'll go to bed.
Boker Tov, my kinderlich, my beautiful people out there. Shalom, damn it. This is Rabbi Saul Solomon, the founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And oh, what pleasure it is for me to be with you on this Shabbos morning of Memorial Day weekend. And it's good that it's Memorial Day, because I'm at the age where I start to forget everything. So, memories, not so much. But I did remember that David, the host of this program, wanted me to be with you on Days Gone By on this Shabbos AM to read to you in a segment that he calls Story Time. This is a simple thing. It allows me, or usually it's him, but today it's me, to read a book by somebody else. So I don't have to come up with hilarious material. Win-win. So the book today is going to be a real book. Honest, this is a real book called The P Word, A Manual for Mammals my friends. Ooh, which is written by David L. Who by the way is a PhD. He wants to put that in there just to make sure that this isn't some sort of hoax or that he's just a pedophile disguising things by writing for children. No. And then there's Elias Arahovitidis, whatever the hell his name is. I thought it was Arahov. I thought it was a Jewish name, but I think it's Greek or sounds like a disease of some kind. Elias Arahovitidis. A Manual for Mammals, the P Word. And when Dave first asked me to do this, I was like, oh, P Word, Pesach. We're going to be talking about Passover. Oh, yes, no, and it's not that. And is it Punim? Are we going to be talking about my face, the Punim? No. P Word is just the word that you think it would be, even though this is a book for children. Let's look at the back cover there, with an elephant having to presumably having to make a pish or something. This easy-to-understand manual gives readers an overview of how and why penises work. Wish mine did. Weaving together surprising insights and instructive illustrations, oh boy, about humans and other mammals, this frank and fun book is the ultimate guide to having a penis and keeping it healthy. All right, and it's refreshingly gender neutral. If it's about penises, how gender neutral could it be? If it has I can't even. This is not. We're talking about 9-year-olds. They don't need to know about women with wangs. Anyway, award-winning scientist David L. Who draws on human anatomy and comparative biology to introduce kids to this amazing organ. Yeah, it's a delightfully candid book, says a best-selling author of... I love this. A delightfully candid book. The P Word guides kids and their parents to a healthier understanding of their bodies. This was a quote from Nicholas Caruso, co-author of Does It Fart? Because I know if I want a positive review of a book, I'm going to go to another author who writes a book called Does It Fart? And then there's finally a factually fascinating, completely charming book about one particular body part that deserves normalized scientific conversation. That's very nice. This is from a doctor and a New York Times best-selling author of Guy Stuff and the Care and Keeping of Hugh. Well, hey, this is the care and keeping of Dr. Hugh right there, so let's see. Anywho, let's dip into the P Word, shall we? Let's see how this thing hangs. And there's tons, because any parent picking up this book is going to want some testimonials, or testiclemonials, if you will, on whether to read this. The P Word, a manual for mammals. To my children, Harry and Heidi, who helped me grow as a scientist and as a parent. And this was written, by the way, all the way back last year, 2023. It's a brand new book, my friends. So I wrote this book, dear readers, for my 10-year-old son, who, like many other children his age, is eager to learn more about his body. Translation, he started to do his own laundry. The topics I chose to cover in this book have paralleled many of the conversations I've had with my son about the best way to care for himself as he gets older. There is so much more to the penis and its role in sex. I'm like a 5-year-old, it's fine. Long before they experience puberty or learn about the birds and the bees, children are already aware of their body and function every time they use the bathroom. It's important not only to learn the purpose and function of the penis, but additionally how to best care for this part of the body. I'm all for constant rubbing. When we look for science, we look for microscopes, telescopes, inside thick books. However, one of the greatest tools, no pun intended, for young scientists to master is the courage to be curious about the world around them. I agree. Asking questions about the things we encounter every day, such as our anatomy, is practical and provides important scientific training. Now, to be a good scientist, we can't be afraid of taboo or forbidden topics. We must go directly where our curiosity leads us. Only if we are so fearless will we have a chance at making the greatest discoveries. There's still so much about the penis to be understood. I love how it's so generic and so like, and it goes right back to the dick. Goes right straight down to the dick. So if your child is curious about their penis, and who isn't, but don't be curious about another child's penis, that will put you in prison. Encourage them to read this book and to keep asking questions. One day, they might even uncover one of the answers. Just take your underpants off. You'll find it right there. That is from David L. Hu, professor of mechanical engineering and biology. Mechanical engineering at the Georgia Institute of Technology. And here we go. Oh, isn't this... All right, so this kind of lets us know what we're sort of in for here. It's how animals make pish. So you've got the human boy with wow, his prostate's working well. And then you've got the dog that's just kind of letting fly at the hydrant there. And then this cute thing, you can tell by the eyes on the cat that he's having a very fun time there in the litter box. Very nice, okay. Table of contents, by the way. We have learning the basics, getting rid of waste, marking territory, reproduction, keeping it clean and healthy. And then we've got a glossary. Now, you might be asking yourselves, and I know I am, what is a penis? If you're that age and you don't know yet, you have worse problems, my friends. All right. The short answer is, and if it's me, it's a short answer, it's an organ! And better than a piano. Just like the heart, the lungs, the brain, the penis works behind the scenes every day to keep our bodies safe and healthy. And by the way, we can tell this man is a professor of mechanical engineering and biology, but not English, because he already has a mistake in the first sentence there. Every day is not one word, it's two words. Every day there is an adjective that he's using as a noun. Boo! Anywho. Unlike most of our other organs, though, we can actually see and touch our penises because it's an external organ like our eyes and our skin. It has some important jobs. Now, if you're touching your eyes, you're going to cause yourself some terrible conjunctivitis problems. But it's true. It's true that the penis has some important jobs. Those jobs include peeing, and for some animals, even marking their territory and reproduction. Sure. Because the human penis is not protected inside the body, like most of our other organs. We need to take special care of it to make sure it stays safe and works well. Staying safe, certainly in the AIDS era, some people should have read this book. Okay, the basics of having a penis. So, who or what has a penis? We all know that humans have penises. Well, no, only half of humans have penis. Those of us who have one see it every day, and he uses every day again wrong. Again, he used the single word instead of the double. When I was going to call them a putz, but then that would be the P word. When we use the bathroom or change our clothes, it's always right there. Humans are not the only animals with penises. All biologically male mammals have them, but only some insects, birds, and reptiles do. So that means a tiger, a bat, a sloth, a kangaroo, and a gorilla all have a schmeckle, a penis. Now, do all penises look the same? It's like snowflakes. All penises are unique, especially among different species. Peni, I'm redacting a little bit here. Peni come in a wide variety of shapes and sizes. Well, he's definitely a Batman. Dingle, 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 Batman. I'm sorry, that's tasteless. Humans, apes, and bats have penises that hang outside the body. Most other mammals' penises are hidden, like in bears, lions, and beavers. And of course, you're a very, very lucky man if you get to hide your, I'm sorry. If you get to hide your penis in a beaver. Please send your complaints to davesgoneby@AOL.com. Did you know that cats have spikes on their penises? This I did not know. And by the way, in case you didn't know, and hide the children, ladies and gentlemen, there's in a microscope or a magnifying glass a cat's pee-pee. Echidnas have a penis that has 4 heads, ladies and gentlemen. That's a party in your pants right there. Vervet monkeys have a dark red penis, and some whales can have penises that grow up to 8 feet long. This is a wonderful, lucky thing, which is more than 2.5 meters. And believe me, if you have a penis that long, you will meet her, and she will be happy to meet you. Even, oh my God, even among humans, no penis looks the same. Here we go. How would you like to have this hanging in your den? There, yeah, it's like a Roth going. All right. Skin can be a wide variety of colors, and penises can too. The color of our penises can be very different from the color of the skin on the rest of our bodies, and the shape can be straight or curved in any direction. The length, the width, the size of the shaft, and the head can all vary. Some human penises look different than the others at the tip. This is because some kids are circumcised. Now this is why Dave wanted me to read this. Circumcision is the surgical, or sometimes we just use our teeth, removal of the foreskin, that is the loose skin that covers the tip of the pee-pee. Each family can decide whether or not to have their child's penis circumcised, and many choose to have it done for religious reasons. And it also keeps the schmuck and the smegmums from under the head of the thing so that your penis doesn't smell like a subway platform in the middle of August. No matter the shape or size, all peni share the same purpose: to keep us healthy. And they do this in many ways. One of the ways our penises help us stay healthy is by getting rid of our urine. See, this guy, he's got to get rid of it. I think there's already a trickle starting, so he better get in there soon. Let's do a little bit more of this. Get to know the urinary system. Oh, I see we're not only on track, but we're on tracked. Little pee-pee joke there. The main reason is simple. We drink water. All mammals, from the smallest shrew to the largest whale, and by the way, I've been married to a big shrew for 20-something. No, I kid. Sorry, Miriam Libby. They need water to survive. It is essential for keeping our bodies in working order. Without water, we would not be able to digest our food, maintain our body temperature, or keep our cells healthy. And even in Rikers, they have trouble keeping their cells healthy. The purpose of peeing, also called urination or micturation. Oh, thank you. I'm going to move B over here and take some lovely, delicious. Thank you ever so much. Oh, nice hot beverage. I love it. And this will make me pee. The purpose of peeing, also called urination or micturation, and that's when Mick Jagger takes a piss, is to release extra water, salts, and unwanted toxins from our body. And the main toxin we need to get rid of is called urea. Urea. I make a heap of urea. And if you've ever listened to the band Urea Heap, you know just how bad that can be. It's easy to remember because urea is in urine. Urea is made from ammonia, a dangerous chemical produced when our bodies break down food and turn it into energy. Well, while ammonia is the chemical that comes from digestion, the liver converts it into urea, which is a safe form of ammonia. How interesting, though, that we use ammonia to clean things. This is why the world makes no sense. Wait a minute. How do we pee? How do we pee? Let's find out. We release urine through our urinary system. These are the organs that create urine and help push it out of our bodies. Let's start from the top, the kidneys. All mammals are born with 2 of these bean-shaped organs. They're on either side of the backbone, below the ribs, but behind the stomach. Kidney's job is to clean our blood. In fact, all the blood in your body passes through the kidney to be cleaned 40 times every day. This is better than Merry Maids or Molly Maids, so 40 times a day. During the cleaning, the kidneys collect waste, extra water, and salt from the blood to convert into urine. Notice the 2 tubes coming down from the kidneys, the little tubies there. They are the ureters. Okay. The readers are the pathway for the urine to leave the kidneys and enter the bladder, which is a hollow, muscular organ that holds urine until it is emptied on its way out of the body. When the bladder is full, the nervous system, I'm so nervous, alerts the brain that it is time to empty it, and that's how we know we gotta go. There are two ways of releasing urine: actively squeezing the bladder or letting it drain like water in a sink. See, our bladder is controlled by a muscle similar to a sink plug called a sphincter. Well, I knew they'd get to a sphincter at some point. When released, the sphincter lets bladder push out the urine. Babies don't have control over this muscle, nor do people my age. So when they gotta go, they just go. And this is where diapers come in handy. All right, we've got so much more of this delightful and informative book about pissing. Look, this is for next time. We haven't even come to this. I didn't know penises could fart. But yes, more of the P word will be coming at you next week and in the weeks ahead with me, Rabbi Saul Solomon. So I do have to go because David has to come back to more of the show. He's getting a guest coming. It's going to be so much fun. So I wish all of you, please take a moment over this coming weekend. I do make a lot of jokes, and most of them bad jokes, but it's Memorial Day weekend. There are people who gave their lives so that I could be here doing this, that you could be there doing. I stopped doing that. They didn't give their life so you could do that. But the rest of you, you keep doing what you're doing, but take a moment to be really and truly thankful and say a blessing or a prayer or just a thank you to men and women who gave their lives to protect this country and to keep this country great. So just that. There's nothing political, nothing anything just like that. It's Memorial Day. There are people absolutely brave and bold and worth remembering. So please do that. Anyway, okay. I hate getting serious. I love getting angry, but I hate getting serious. Anyway, this is Rabbi Saul Solomon. Find out more about me by going to my website, shalomdammit.com, shalomdammit.com. You can hear all my rabbinical reflections there. You can read some stuff I've written. You can also watch my stage show, Shalom Dammit, An Evening with Me. Plus, what else now? I did a TV show called Shalom Dammit also. I have no imagination, so I name everything the same thing. It's all at shalomdammit.com. Anyway, have a fine weekend. I'll be back with more penis talk next Shabbos morning. Let me play a little bit of my outro music, and then Dave will be back with more of the show. Oh my goodness, what appropriate music that I've been playing to lead the rabbi out of the room with me, Dave Lefkowitz, back in the room for more of Dave's Gone By. Perfectly appropriate for today because many, many, many years ago now, I wrote a play with very Jewish themes. It was a play called Candide. Candide with a K, because it was riffing on, it was sort of parodying and playing with Voltaire's classic satirical novel Candide, but I kind of put it into a different context. I took the main idea of the play, the mocking of the idea that all is, God made the world and the world is perfect as it is and God has a plan for everything. And even the most terrible things that happen are happening because there's a plan. There's a grand master plan. And if you put a kid, as I did, a Polish Jewish kid, through the Holocaust, and step by step seeing the world get worse and more vicious and more brutal and more awful in a comedic way, and then trying to jibe that with this idea that Hashem has a plan for everything, it becomes kind of ridiculous. Anyway, that play won an award, and part of the winning of that award involved having a production directed in California by the person who's going to be joining us momentarily. His name is Robin Huber. wonderful fella, and he was the guy who directed my show Candide. And we're going back to the early or mid 1990s. I'm not exactly sure of even the year now. It was that long ago. But he did a lovely job, and it was great hanging with him. And he's had a career teaching theater, directing theater at the college and university level for many years out in California. Plus, after that, he's had this whole second life of volunteering in parks and national parks and places like that to help ecology and to help basically the natural world. So we're letting him in. Oh, he looks great. Oh my God, he looks terrific. Ladies and gentlemen, I just need him to unmute. So if you unmute, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from the West Coast and getting up real early to be here, won't you kindly welcome Robin Huber? Hey, Robin.
David, my God, the year's gone by.
Oh, the year's gone by for Dave's gone. Why is it? Because the hair's gone. I was already balding when you knew me. I'm not that.
Yeah.
I'm older. I'm old. You don't look. I mean, you look a little older, but my God, you don't. You still have hair. I resent that. You still have hair, not just here, but here. How do you manage
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Just genetics, I guess.
Well, mazel tov on that. How you been? I mean,
Sorry.
how have you been?
Oh, I've been great. I've been great. I tuned in your show a little earlier today to see what I was in for. And gosh, I don't know. Following a book about what was the quip I was going to use? It's going to be hard to follow a book about penises.
Yeah, hard. Well, at least better than semi-hard to follow.
Yeah.
But now, Robin. First of all, again, I'm just amazed because it's been many years. I think one time I'd come out to California maybe a decade ago and we had lunch, and that was kind of cool to see after all those years. But do you remember it was early 90s or mid 90s when you
I was,
Candide?
the weird thing is, prior to the digital age, all that stuff just disappears into the ether. Once the iPhones and digital cameras came about, everything gets onto the computer, and all you have to do is go into your history and you can find everything you did, for the last 15 years. But you go past beyond that and it's in a box in the garage somewhere and not readily accessible.
Did you keep any in a box somewhere? Did you keep any memorabilia from?
I did have a box of programs from all the shows that I was involved with. But I think I weeded it out stupidly some years ago, and I'm not sure what's left.
The Lefkowitz play. Well, that goes instantly shredded, then recycled, then dug up. An animal eats it, craps it out. Then I'm gonna recycle it again. Yeah, no. But I still have the program from it. I have a poster, I think, from it back.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I'm sure it was. Yeah, like you say, I thought it was the 80s, but you're probably right. It was more like the early 90s.
Yeah, I think 80s would have been a little soon on that, but maybe might have been 89, 90, 91. So
that was it. Go ahead.
I was telling people that Candide was a riff on Voltaire's Candide, where it's a naive young Jewish boy in the early 30s or mid to late 30s in Poland, seeing all the anti-Semitism, getting thrown into a concentration camp, and then he's got his mentor rabbi. Who was the guy? Who was the older gentleman? He was lovely.
That was one of the more wonderful things about that experience with you and your play was that I was able to score my mentor from Cal State University, Los Angeles, to play the rabbi, Pete Goodman.
Pete Goodman. I remember asking you about him when we met in California. It just passed recently.
Yes, he did. It was very sad. He also had a second life. He went on to write adventure novels about, I think his character was what do you call it, an anthropologist or a whatever that did work in Central America, Tomb Raider kind of thing.
Oh, just wonderful. I mean, and he was an interesting choice because he was the only person in the play who wasn't a student. Because you wanted to cast an older actor to play the mentor, older rabbi.
Yeah.
So Pangloss character, we called him Panglev, who's Candide's rabbi, who everybody thinks he keeps dying or being tortured, and then he keeps popping back up for most of the play.
Right.
Part of the joke of Candide. But he was, and there was a choice to have an older, and it was a great idea because he was perfect for the role. And then, but everybody else, it was a big cast to do this. It was kind of an epic play.
Yeah.
But everybody else was students. Everybody was playing all different ages and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's one of the nice things about teaching at a community college is that you get not only students who are going on to to four-year schools to get degrees, but you also get people from the community who are coming back just because they want to do stuff. And so it wasn't unique that I had access to an older actor. Almost every show I did, I was able to cast appropriately aged people from the community who had come in to audition.
Do you have any memories of directing this show?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Unfortunately, not as many as I would like, but I do have definite memories of working through it and solving problems. I mean, that's one of the real joys of doing a world premiere, is that you're not rehashing, recreating something that someone else has already, has done, and there's a published script, that's had all the rough edges taken off of it, and all the problems solved, and a list of props in the back. You're starting from scratch, and that's a real joy. It really is. It's the fully creative experience of putting together a play, and I thank you for that opportunity. And I thank Cerritos College at that time. They had this wonderful playwriting contest, which is they don't no longer have, I'm sure, because it was expensive and schools don't have any money anymore. But that was a wonderful program.
I mean, you guys put me up in a little hotel room for like 2
Yeah, I remember picking you up at the airport and dropping you off at a local hotel. They had agreed to comp you a room, as a community service, because we were doing something that they thought was worthy and important. And yeah, it was just a great program. There needs to be more of that.
I do recall that the one thing you told me, that the one thing that the only disappointment on from my part was that you wish I'd done a little bit more revision on the play while I was there. Like I cut it down a little bit, or grouped more of the characters. But this was a debut for me too. So I was just to see if the damn thing played, if it worked, if it if I couldn't even step away from it enough to look at it and go, I could probably, instead of having double the actors, I can just take this character and morph that into a next character and take away two characters, make it a little less confusing. I couldn't do that until many years later. But I also do like the idea that a play of that scope allowed you, as a theater teacher, to cast not 7 people or 9 people, but you could actually give a lot of kids roles.
Exactly.
A lot of kids complain when they go to these acting conservatories or to schools where there's majoring in theater, and like the golden kids get cast over and over again, and everybody else gets 2 lines.
Right.
Your characters in Shakespeare. I like the idea that my play allowed you, because it was epic in scale. Everybody got at least one scene. Everybody got to show off a little bit. I thought that was a cool thing.
Do me a favor and copy this. Make a photographic, a copy of that program if you have. If you can find it, and email it to me. I would love to. That would refresh my memory, as to who was in it and a bit more.
Next time I'm in New York, I don't have it here. I'm living in Maryland now, but next time I have in New York a copy of that plan. I'll absolutely PDF it and then send it over to you.
I was in Maryland late last year. If I'd have known you were there, we could have said hello.
Oh, well, Rob, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to.
I'm sure I'll be back. I have relatives who live there now. My sister is in a nursing home. Oh gosh, what's the name of the town? It's south and east of Baltimore. Anyway, she's there.
We're north, but we're north of Baltimore, but absolutely. And I want to say that back when I was there, back in California for that first time, you were the first time I ever had a mojito, because we went out for lunch sometime. I mean, it was like, compliment my lunch, thank you very much. And we went to a place, and it was like after rehearsal, after whatever. It's like, I'm like, what is that? And I had a virgin mojito, because I didn't drink it all at that point, and I knew I wouldn't enjoy it with alcohol in it. So I'm like, and it was in California. I never heard of it. And so I was trying this mojito. It's good. I'm like, okay. Yeah. It's mint and it's crushed lime, and I was like, I fell in love. And every once in a while, I still have mojito, and I think of you because that was a new experience for me. I was in my 20s. I hadn't really flown.
Oh, that's right. I somehow remembered you as being older. I thought maybe you had hit 30 already at that point.
Maybe if I was 30, I was just borderline. So I was older than all the other students, but I wasn't that much older. I remember we all went on, not you, but the gang went to Disneyland. I'd never been to Disneyland, and then we all went as a group. And then, of course, I was a little outsider-ish. Not also because I don't like rides. I don't like thrill rides. So I'm wandering around like Disneyland. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's wait for 45 minutes and get on this thing I'm gonna hate. But I was trying to be a good sport and all that. But
So this was a real cultural awakening for you.
Oh, I know. I learned that I don't like Disneyland. But what else do you remember, if anything, about the experience of directing that show? And then I'll ask you about other shows you've done.
Well, like I said, a lot of it had to do with being able to reconnect with Pete, my mentor, and be able to work with him. And it was strange, because my relationship before that had always been teacher to student, student to teacher, I should say. And suddenly the roles were reversed, and it was my mentor being the actor, and I'm the director, and that was a little odd. But since that time, we kept the relationship going. Very fortunately, his dentist happened to live or have his practice nearby to the college. And so whenever, every 6 months, when he would, because he lived, he was in the LA area, but not real close. So every 6 months he would come back for a dental appointment, and we'd agree to meet for lunch and catch up.
It was a cheap lunch for you because all you had to do was spring for soup. Yeah. Like, Pete, I was going to buy you prime rib. No, the vegetable soup is fine.
Now we usually, I think we went to there's a deli nearby, New York style deli, and we would always go there.
In memory of Candy.
Keeping the theme going.
No,
yeah,
sorry, please.
But I was going to say, it's been a long time since I've done theater. We talked about changing careers, and that's really been, I can remember more of that than I can almost of theater because it's been so long ago. I retired in 2009, and I have not had any real contact with theater other than seeing the occasional play in LA that comes through that I have an interest in. When people find that very strange, they think, well, gee, you had this life in the theater. Why aren't you, directing and acting and being in commercials and doing films? And my feeling was, been there, done that. I wanted to have a second life. I wanted to try something else. When I was in college, when I first started, I was certainly not interested in theater. I think I tried out for one play in high school just on a whim and didn't get cast. And then I went on to the local state university, and just as a general education major because I wanted to get my footing, find out what I wanted to do. I had really more of an interest in the natural sciences. In fact, in high school, my dream was to be a forest ranger. And I told my dad.
You are right now, but we'll get to it.
Well, yeah, sort of a junior forest ranger. But I told my dad I wanted to go to Oregon State and study forestry. And I knew that he had gone to Michigan, wanted to go to Michigan State. He was from Detroit, Chicago area, and his family was just too poor to send him, and so that was kind of a lost dream for him. And even though he was sympathetic, we were still not in a great shape money wise at that point. And he said, "Well, why don't you just go locally where there's no out of state tuition? Figure out what you really want to do, and then after after 2 years, if you still want to do that, we can talk again." So that's what I did, and I was floundering around. It was the '60s, and I was partying and smoking dope and having a great old time. Yeah, and my grades were suffering, and the war was going on, and I got to the point where they notified me I was going to be scholastically disqualified, and if I didn't bring my grades up the following semester.
And they could have sent you to Vietnam. You could have been sent.
Sure. People were getting drafted right and left. My number was coming up. So anyway, if I lost my student deferment, I was going to be screwed. Right. And so when I was talking to one of my really good friends at that time, Richard Patty, whose sister was an actor in one of the regional theaters in California, he said, "I know you pretty well. I think you would really do well in theater. Why don't you take a theater class?" So I signed up for Theater 101, figuring, okay, that'll be a good way to bring my grades up. It should be easy and fun. and I loved it. I loved it. In fact, I think I had Pete Goodman for that class. And so anyway, I did much better that semester, but unfortunately not better enough to pull myself out of the hole I dug for myself. And I was booted out. So at that point, I had, I was going to get drafted, and I certainly didn't want to be in the jungle, shooting people. So I went down to the local Naval Reserve Center and signed up for the Navy Reserve, figuring that would be a safe way of,
Right, they keep you in
yeah.
American spots.
But I wanted to get it over with. Most people would just do their reserves for a couple of years and then do the required 2 years of active duty. But I wanted to get, one and done, get it done, get out of there and get back to real life. So I went immediately to boot camp and got assigned, guess where? Vietnam. But
You were in Vietnam. I didn't know this. You were in Vietnam?
Yeah. Well, not in it. I was off the coast. I got assigned to an oil tanker that refueled the Navy ships that were doing shore bombardment and sending out airplanes and all that stuff. So I was never in any personal danger. Yet I was technically in the combat zone and got combat pay and all that stuff. But it was 2 years, and it was an invaluable time for me. I mean, I met a lot of people that I would never have met being a college puke, as they called me, on the ship. I don't regret those 2 years. It grew me up, and when I got out, I went immediately back to school, became a theater major, and the rest is history, as they say.
Wow. Well, I just had no idea of that backstory. This is how self-centered I am. I could have asked this like 30 years ago. I said, "So, Robert, what was your life like?" And it was like, "No, talk about my play." But now it's like, holy crap.
On the other hand, maybe I told you the story, and the years have gone by.
I'm 60. I've forgotten more than I'll never know. You've known a lot more.
Yeah, like I tell the kids, I've forgotten more than you'll ever learn. Yeah. So anyway, so when retirement came along, I just decided, okay, I want to take that other road and start doing some stuff involving animals and plants and nature, which I'd never lost my love of. And my cousin, who had at that time been the head ranger down at Anza Borrego State Park, which is a desert park down by San Diego, said, "You know what? I think you would enjoy volunteering. We have a big volunteer corps in the state parks. Why don't you look into that?" And he kind of hooked me up with that. We have a state park bordering my city, Yorba Linda, here in Orange County, northern Orange County. And so I just showed up there, and they put me to work, and I loved it. I loved it. Being out in the hills and being with the birds.
Yeah, sorry. How long was it since 2009 you've been doing this, or when did you?
No, I did other things for a while, but this was 8 years ago. This fall will mark my 8th year as a volunteer, and I kind of worked my way up and have become, I guess you'd call, the lead volunteer at this nature center. And I'm in charge of a native plant nursery and a little discovery called the Discovery Trail for kids and adults who want to get a taste of the outdoors and see the names of the plants and the animals. I manage that, and it's been very fulfilling. It's hard work. It's outdoor work. I'm digging holes and hiking up into the hills and gathering seeds and plant specimens, and but I had to do some backfilling because I began to feel like I didn't know what I was talking about. So I went back to Cal State Fullerton, nearby college, and took classes in botany, and kind of learned what I needed to learn to do the job.
How you won't have to answer this question. How old are you?
I am 78.
So, first of all, you look 60. You look my age, which is
yeah, I look just like you.
Well, add a little more.
We're brothers.
Yeah, well, there you go, mon frère. But this is amazing. So you seem to be in great shape. I mean, you have to hike up these hills. You feel it or not feel it? I mean, is it?
Well, my wife was a real avid gym person, when I met her, and I kind of blew that off. That was her thing. But after a while, I realized, I really need to do it. So I started going to the gym with her and going to Weight Watchers at one point with her. And so she just sort of changed my life that way. But since I've gotten involved in all this outdoor stuff, even though I did go to the gym regularly, I find that I only need to go occasionally now because I get so much. It's a total workout, believe me. I come home exhausted.
Absolutely. How long, by the way, as Rabbi Saul Solomon would say, as Candide would say, Mazel Tov. How long have you been married?
We have been married 27 years. She's probably upstairs watching this on Facebook as we talk. So I'll get in trouble later. But yeah, we had our 25th anniversary a couple years ago and took a wonderful trip up the coast. So I think 27, I maybe 28 this year.
Yeah, she'll get you for that. If you don't know the exact number, she will. You'll owe her some flowers later today. But what does she do? How did you meet her?
I met her. Here we go. I met her at Temple Bat Yam in Newport Beach. They had no, I'm not Jewish. They had a group called Advanced Degrees Singles was active at that time. Remember, this is pre-internet. There were no apps for this. You had to do it in real life. You had to show up at a mixer, and they had these events on a regular basis. People with a master's degree or better would show up and have a drink and talk. And she approached me, and we engaged in conversation, and something was happening, and we had a date, and we ended up together.
Mazel tov, mazel tov. Now, again, not to get, and feel free, because I always ask the personal questions and stuff. How could you ask that? Do you have kids anywhere from previous, or are you?
Yes. Yeah, she has a daughter from a previous relationship, and I have a son from a previous marriage.
Mazel,
and two grandsons.
Oh, double mazel tov, four times mazel tov. Any of them in the entertainment creative field, or any of them naturalists?
My son is Noah, and he is. By the way, I learned recently that Noah is the number 1 or number 2 name for boys currently for babies. When I named him, it was like,
nobody.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're Jewish, maybe, but
right. Okay. So
yeah.
What's he up to?
Anyway, he is in quasi entertainment. He's in advertising. He directs videos for an ad agency that does a lot of automotive work. I think Nissan, Mercedes-Benz, that sort of thing. The kind of video, you go to their website and you click on the video showing the car doing stuff, screaming across the countryside and out in the desert. So he goes on location and shoots auto ad, those kind of auto videos.
That's great.
So he's a director.
Yeah, no, really is. That's wonderful. That's so cool. And so let me ask some other. One of the interesting things, though, that you didn't mention is that when you did decide that you love theater and that you were going to approach it and take theater, and you had Pete Goodman as your, but your MA was in design.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons I got into theater, was not just that I liked the class, but once I was in the got in the building, you learn, what's going on, and they have this big scenery shop, and there was saws going on and hammering and nails and stuff. My grandfather was an immigrant from Switzerland, and he trained himself once he got to Chicago. Took classes, I think, in drafting and so forth, and he had woodworking skills, and he became what was called a pattern maker. I don't even know if they exist anymore. A pattern maker makes a mock-up of something that'll eventually be cast in iron, like you see an andiron on a fireplace, or some kind of a fitting for a rail locomotive engine that's cast iron. Well, it's carved or made out of wood first, and then they put that wood mock-up in sand, make a mold out of it, and then they pour the molten iron into the mold and make the part. So he was very skilled with woodworking tools, and so my dad always had those in the garage. He had power tools, and he was sort of handy with them, and he did shop projects, and I was right at his side all the time. So I learned as a child how to use woodworking tools, and so they said, "Oh, well, we have students who work in the shop for pay. Are you interested?" And I said, "Shit, yeah. I got to pay rent." And so I started working in the shop building scenery, and so rather quickly, within I think a year or two, I realized, having seen students in my acting classes going on to Hollywood who were far more talented than I was, getting nowhere, I realized that the road to success in this business is backstage. That's where the money is for most of us.
Or
so
just jobs, just regular jobs where you can pay some bills. Like,
Right, exactly.
yeah, exactly.
And you're not working, and they are regular. That's not like once the shooting is done, you're on the street again. It's a regular job. So I kind of channeled myself into that. Got my master's in design, and then eventually got my first teaching job at Golden West College in Huntington Beach, and they hired me as their set designer slash teacher of those sorts of things. But everybody does everything in a community college. There's no real specialists. If you're the set design teacher, you're probably also teaching makeup and costuming and theater history and maybe acting if you're lucky and you have those chops. And so that's what I ended up doing. And I just slowly over the 20 odd years, almost 30 years, I moved almost entirely out of set design and more into acting, teaching directing, teaching theater history, because I had gone back to USC and got my PhD in history and theory, and so I
Aren't
moved into
you
that.
the foremost expert on some theater called the Merced?
Yeah, good memory. Yes, yeah, it was the first legitimate theater, purpose-built legitimate theater in Los Angeles, and I did my dissertation on its history and to reconstruct it. The shell was still there, the brick shell of the building, but the theater, which was on the second floor, had long ago been displaced and turned into a flop house. And so I basically figured out what it used to look like and did the drawings and the research to reconstruct it, hoping that someday the money would become available to rebuild it inside and make it a theater museum.
Well, what is
Hasn't
it
happened.
now? Right now, what is that?
It is still just an empty space owned by the state. It's
Oh,
part of the historic park there of the old Pueblo area of Los Angeles. And someday, in fact, I'm on the board of the El Pueblo Park Association, which is like the support group for that park. It used to be a state park. Now the state turned it over to the city. And I recently rediscovered the chandelier that used to hang in the middle of the theater over the auditorium. It was actually a gasolier because it was built in 1870, no electricity, no electric light anyway. And so the chandelier was powered by gas. I found it in pieces in a warehouse that the city maintains for stuff that they take out of old buildings and they figure might be of some historic interest. So
really?
right currently it's up near Sacramento. There's a guy up there who that's his job is restoring gas fixtures from the 19th century. He did the work for the White House. He's currently working on a job for the Mormons in Salt Lake City for one of their historic buildings. I mean, he makes them from scratch, basically. He makes castings, brass castings.
Is he refitting them to be or is he making them still gas powered? Or is he?
Either way,
Uh,
they a lot of times they're retrofitted for electricity for safety purposes, but he also restores them to work on gas as well. So hopefully that'll be done this year, and we'll get it back and can hang it up on an apparatus somewhere and show it off and use it as a point of interest to tell people, hey, we need to get this theater back up so this can hang where it's supposed to be, and people can see what the first theater in LA used to look like. Maybe even do shows there.
Can I ask you what the weirdest or most interesting or unexpected fact was about the Merced? Well, you wrote a dissertation on it. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, when you were coming, you were saying, this is a really interesting story or anecdote about the very first professional theater in LA. Do you have any?
Sure.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, you've heard the adage George Washington slept here. Do you know who David Belasco was?
Yeah, actor, producer, yeah, major.
Yeah, very
David
famous
Belasco Theater in
actor.
New York. Yeah, yeah.
David Belasco did a show there. There was an actor there before he became famous. He had been acting up in San Francisco, and once the theater was built, acting troops would come down from San Francisco to play LA. And I was really shocked one day to be going through an ad, for a play coming up, and they had the cast list, and it said David Belasco. And I go, what? Yeah. So that was pretty surprising.
That's major. That is major. Can I ask you also? I mean, I know I'm rolling you back to years that you have forgotten at this point, but like beyond Candide, which was a magical and wonderful experience. I mean, it really was one of the great experiences of my life, and I hope you had a good time with it.
Oh man, it was unforgettable for me too.
But what was like another favorite experience that you had as a director, or even as a professor of theater in all your years of university? Did you have like a golden, like this was the best show I ever directed, or this was a really beautiful moment, or something happened that
Mm.
Yeah.
I think, well, I had many of those, I'm sure. And if I should have prepared myself for a question like that because that's, de rigueur. But yeah, I think the one that sticks in my mind most was a play that we did at Golden West College, which was where I was. That was my first job after graduating with my master's. And at that time, the Center Theater Group, which is the big regional theater in Los Angeles, the Mark Taper Forum was their experimental theater of the three that they had, and they were very active in producing avant-garde theater and kind of challenging stuff. And Christopher Hampton, a British playwright, did a play called Savages. It was about the treatment of indigenous tribes in Brazil. About how the land is being. This was back in the 70s, but it's still happening today. How the land is being systematically, taken from the indigenous peoples in the Amazon basin. So it was basically based on a real person, a true story, as it were, of this anthropologist who was working with the tribes and very much trying to prevent them from being wiped out. I mean, the government would come in and drop bombs on them just to, kill them off so that they could chop down the forest and plant, cane fields or plantations and stuff. And so this guy was an ethnographer, I guess. This thing, the person the play was centered on, and so much of the play involves his dealings with these indigenous peoples and recreating showing their ceremonies. And at that time, the Taper was very good. The Mark Taper was very good at outreach. And I called him up and said, "Hey, we want to do the show, and we've gotten the rights, and we could really use some help, because I don't know anything about these dances." Anyway, they sent out their choreographer and two people to sit in on rehearsals, and not only sit in, but to actually involve in teaching the students the native dances, helping our costumer design the costumes and figure out how the women can be bare-breasted without actually showing anything, by having large necklace things that kind of came down over the front. And yeah, it was so working with these professionals with our students, and then successfully putting on this show, which was very moving and important. To me, that was probably the highlight of one of the highlights of my career.
One of. Remember, candy eat here, everything else here, but
Yep.
still, but one of the absolute. That is so cool. And can I ask? I know we're kind of running low on time here, but it's been just so great reconnecting this way. And when you are in Maryland, or if I happen to be back out,
Absolutely, yeah, I will be back. My sister's still there and other relatives. So next time down, I'll give you a heads up before, and we'll get together.
Now, you did mention, I do have one more question though, that you occasionally still go to professional local, maybe at the Taper or these other places. What's been the best show you've seen over the last couple of years?
Oh boy. Last couple of years. Like I say, I don't go that often. There's not that many shows that really pique my interest. Like I said, I've always tended toward the more experimental, the more avant-garde as things that really interest me. I remember seeing Einstein on the Beach a while back, and many years ago. I mean, that kind of stuff. Philip Glass. So when the latest Broadway musical hits town, I'm not going to be the first in line to see it. Although there's been some exceptions. There's been some wonderful musicals that I've seen and enjoyed for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't got a good answer for you there. What? My wife is yelling at me. Hold on. What? Which?
Slave Play.
Oh, Slave Play, of course. Yeah. Slave Play was certainly interesting.
I saw that on Broadway. That's a show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my.
Once again, saved by Kathy.
Yay, Kathy. Yeah. As you top out over 80, you will ask her more and more and more questions. And she's like,
I am. Yeah, we work together that way.
Right. Yeah.
She's off to the gym.
Well, there you go. Well, we have a bit more show to do here on Dave's Gone.
Yeah.
Just have to thank so incredibly much. Such a nice guy, such a smart guy, and such a caring and helping and decent guy. I mean, he's spent for all these years mentoring kids, doing creative things, and now he's spent the last 8 years growing things and helping things get better and ecologically better. And that is so. Do you have a favorite plant?
Yeah, white sage.
Because is it white? Is it sagey? What is it?
It's whitish colored and it's sagey, and the indigenous peoples used it in their ceremonies. They make an incense out of it. They would wrap it up, you dry it, wrap it up into a stick, a smudge stick, and then you light it, blow it out like an incense stick, and you use it to purify your house or whatever.
Well, you know what? It's completely appropriate because you, Robin Huber, are a sage, and it has something like. Thank you for handing me that segue. Just no, but really, really, it's been an honor. It was an honor 25, 30 years ago to be, have my play directed by you, to know you, and to work with you, and to see you here, and God willing, to see you in Maryland soon. All best, all good health to you and your lovely wife, Kathy, and thank you for being with us in the neighborhood.
Well, thanks so much for inviting me. I was a little apprehensive and frightened, but when I saw the 15 minutes of your show before I came on, I figured I had nothing and no worries.
There's nothing left to lose. That's right. Thank you, man. Thank you, and have a great one.
Thank you. Love you, man. Bye bye.
Oh, yay. Yay, just yay. Robin Huber out there. So if you're out by Yorba Linda or their local park or park fairly near there, I couldn't get the name of the whole thing, Azerbaijani National Park, go, and you might see him giving a tour, or you might see plants cultivated there by Dr. Robin Huber, our friend, our guest in the neighborhood, my long time mentor on a certain level and colleague and friend. It's been a rough couple of weeks for me in various ways, and it's just been a tough end of the semester and a lot of stuff going on, and of course the world is pissing me off. But I go through, that kind of conversation with an old pal, and I just, as Rabbi Saul would say, I'm belling. I'm so delighted and happy at the moment. I can't, it'll last for 10 minutes and then I'll be an angry old bastard again. But for now, this is a genuine, happy, delighted, contented smile. So, thank you, Robin. And thank all of you for watching the Dave's Gone By show. We still have more show for you because I know we did Bunyan Watch. I know, I hope Robin missed that. But we did Bunyan Watch before. We also did Greeley Times, right? All those stories coming out from people calling the Greeley Police Department. And we already did story time with Rabbi Saul Sullivan. So we got that all out of the way. What else do we have to do?
Somebody named Russ said something.
Russ?
I'm from Mexico. Russ Huber?
Oh, must be related. Huber last name is.
He said hello from your brother in Mexico, Russ. Oh. Not your brother.
No, Robin's brother. Oh, that's so cool. I hope he sees that. Or his wife saw it. Well, and hello, Russ. Come like us on Facebook.
He watched it because I can't tell the time, but it was when I was watching and I saw it pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't that, did you watch the show?
Yeah, what a nice man.
Yeah.
Wow, I can see why you liked working with him.
He's just, one of the best experiences I've ever had.
Interesting story, though, how he got from one place to the next.
And also to be competent in both those
But to
things.
understand how you go from one to the other.
Yeah, but this idea of that he was skilled in not only directing and acting, but the mechanics of and also in biology and cellular molecular things and plants and botany.
To like his comment, but it says him this comment, whatever.
So anyway, Robin is now, of course, a friend of the neighborhood. What are friends of the neighborhood? These are people who've been on the program. And so Robin is now officially a friend. Yay.
Who was your friend before?
Right, but now he's a friend of the show because he's been on the show, as has Rabbi Saul. So Robin Huber, look for him up in the parks in volunteering and coordinating the volunteers up in near Yorba Linda, California. And then also Rabbi Saul. Go to his website, shalomdammit.com. Rabbi Saul, of course, was on the very first episode we ever did, so he's an old friend of the neighborhood. But other people who've been on the program in months and years past, we keep tabs on them. We like to know what they're up to. That's why they're friends of the neighborhood. Pom. So yeah, let's let you know, because we're proud to have people like Robin Huber. I don't know if we're proud to have Rabbi Saul on the show, but we're certainly proud that really talented and wonderful folks like Robin have been on this program. What are other friends of ours up to? For example, oh, I wish I had something happier about this, but we do absolutely want to wish what we would call a refuah shlema, a get well soon, and it won't be that soon, but get well soon to our cabaret friend Richard Holbrook, who has been battling recurring mouth cancer. Tumor came back a few weeks ago. They've had to take that and deal with it, and he's getting better. He's recuperating, but it is not, it's not something you can get over with or over in a week or two. So please do get better, Richard Holbrook. And even if he never gets to do cabaret again, and I hope he does, but just to feel better and live a good life. Anyway, want to let you know that Neil Berg has written the score for The Sabbath Girl. This is a new musical that is ending tomorrow, so you have 2 more chances to catch it at Penguin Repertory Theater in Stony Point, New York. And oh, honey, guess what? We need some noise. Light noise. Because guess what alert it is? It's an Austin Pendleton alert. Austin Pendleton, as well as our friend Penny Arcade and our friend Ishmael Reed, all 3 of them are taking part in Theater for the New City's 29th annual Lower East Side Festival of the Arts. I believe, it's in and around Theater for the New City, which I believe is on 1st Avenue and 10th Street. So all these different plays and events and stuff. Unfortunately, I've never been to one, but it sounds like fun. And these 3 folks over the next couple of days are taking part. Austin and Penny and Ishmael, go see them today and tomorrow. I want to let you know that playing now through Monday night, Karen Mason is doing her cabaret show More Than All the Sky. That is at Green Room 42 on 42nd Street. Now on Monday night, Karen Akers, legendary cabaret songstress Karen Akers, is going to be at Birdland, so go see her. And then the very funny comedian Tom Papa, he is at the Comedy Cellar in New York on Tuesday, May 28th. And then on the 31st, Jeremy Schoenfeld. Congratulations to him. I've known him basically as a musician, but he's made a film called The Father Who Stayed, and it's getting a screening in Beacon, New York, that is happening on the 31st. Playing now through, I think, next weekend, Clea Blackhurst is playing in a play called A Complicated Woman, and that is at the Goodspeed Theater, the Terrace Theater in the Goodspeed in Connecticut. I believe that's East Haddam, Connecticut, if you happen to be around that area. And then Jose Rivera's new play, The Hours Are Feminine, that is at Intar. Intar is still around. It's over on 500 West 52nd Street, playing now through the first week in June. Julie Halston, the wonderful Julie Halston, is in a play called Breaking the Story that is being done off-Broadway at Second Stage Theater, their Kaiser space on West 43rd Street, now through mid to late June. Alan Lewis Rickman, he's in a play called The Actors, which is being done on Theater Row over on 42nd and 9th and 10th Avenue. You can catch that now through the 1st of June, so 1 more week. Ted Sperling, he has not been a guest on the neighborhood, but I'll tell you who has. He is celebrating the late, great Sheldon Harnick, and they're doing that as part of Lyrics and Lyricists over at the 92nd Street Y. That's happening June 1st through June 3rd, so it's late this week. And then Al Tapper, he has scored a new musical. He's written the book and music and lyrics for a musical called David, happening at the AMT Theater, which Tapper essentially owns. That is on West 45th Street, and it's occurring from June 1st through July 13th. Now through next weekend, Jimmy Tingle is doing his stand-up comedy show Humor and Hope for Humanity at the Soho Playhouse. Gabriel Barry is directing A Sign of the Times at New World Stages off-Broadway. That is running through next week. And then Gabriel Barry is also directing the Bruce Valanche scripted musical with Dolly Parton songs called Here You Come Again. That's in and around Leeds and London and Manchester and all these different places in the UK. Go check it out. There's a website for it, Here You Come Again. Lilias White is on Broadway in Hadestown. Alan Menken's music, of course, is in Aladdin on Broadway and Little Shop of Horrors off-Broadway. K.T. Sullivan performs at the Algonquin on Tuesday evenings. Vince Giordano and the Nighthawks, they are at Birdland for 2 shows on Monday evenings. Eric Comstock and Barbara Fasano are at Birdland on Tuesday nights. And then Jim Caruso's cast party every Monday night at Birdland. Go see them all. Tickets are at birdlandjazz.com. Dr. Demento still doing new and old Dr. Demento shows at drdemento.com. Check out the website stagebuddy.com, which was founded by our friend Evan Seplow. Want to remind you that David Sheward writes for theaterlife.com, culturaldaily.com, as well as totaltheater.com. He does reviews of Broadway and off-Broadway shows. Also reviewing shows on and off Broadway, our friend Leslie Hoban Blake, who co-hosts a program on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as well as YouTube, called Two on the Aisle, with our mutual friend Charlie Gross. And then Vicky Quaddy, of course, who does Are You Smarter Than Your 8th Grade Nun, as well as Bible Bingo and Late Night Catechism. These are all in and around the Chicago area, particularly the Greenhouse Theater in Chicago. And those, my friends, are the friends of the neighborhood. Thank you, Joseph Haydn. That's, by the way, Symphony Number 7 in C, Le Midi, which is kind of pretty nice, isn't it? Anyway, I'm Dave Lefkowitz. I'm here with my wonderful wife, and you guys, I hope, are all still there. Again, if you missed any part of this program, you can go to davesgoneby.com like tomorrow and look at the archives, or see the archives at archive.org, or listen to the archives at castbox.fm. I also want to mention that we have a Twitter feed, Radio Dave 2, and we also have an Instagram page, david.lefkowitz. All these, a lot of it is the same information that you can just get from davesgoneby.com or our Facebook page, but you know, you got to be out there on all these different platforms. At some point, if TikTok isn't illegal, I'll probably get on there too, or not. Probably had a MySpace page back in the day. I don't even know if that exists. But anyway, all different ways. But please, to let folks know, this is what we do. We have ridiculous conversations, serious ones sometimes, as well as crazy, funny segments. The rabbi, that's all part of it. We do Dave's Gone By. Let me take that. Why am I wearing these? I keep seeing the ring light in them. Anyway, and what else? Oh. If you want to read my stuff, we kept talking about Candide, right? The play that I wrote, the parody or the satire that uses Voltaire's Candide just as a very loose springboard to tell a very different and darker but funny story. Well, interesting play, right? Think you want to read it? Just go to davelefkowitz.org. davelefkowitz.org and click on the link for my writings. And that'll bring you, you can read my play. You can also read The Triple Wedding, the play that got me my master's degree. You can also read some of the other plays I've written, and as well as plays I've collaborated with a rabbi on, like Shalom Dammit, An Evening with Rabbi Saul Solomon, or the follow-up to that, which has not been performed, that may or may not in the future get done, called Hate Speech with Love, plus my song lyrics. Oh, and we have a song to play. I forgot. Oh my God, I almost forgot. We do have a new song that I'm going to debut for you on the show today called Stupid Pupil. If you want to see the lyrics for it, go to davelefkowitz.org. There's also dozens and dozens of other songs I've written. You can see the lyrics there. You can also read my comic essays, my serious essays, interviews I've done with people, just this whole myriad of written work as opposed to the radio stuff, the visual and audio stuff. All of that is at davelefkowitz.org. So do check that out, and particularly if you're from a theater company that might be having a one-act festival and looking for a cute, funny play to do, read my one-acts. There's a bunch of them there. And read some of my longer plays and a screenplay here and an interview there, davelefkowitz.org. Please please do check that out. Anyway, all right, so it's about 25 to noon Eastern time. We're actually running pretty well on time for once here in the neighborhood on this Saturday, May 25th, 2024. Maybe this is a good time. I'm going to hold, as I usually do, the limerick for kind of the end of the program, and instead play the song. And actually, so it's just a lyric video, but a brand new song that I put together this week. It's a parody, and it's based on a classic number done by Connie Francis back in the day, one of her most popular numbers called Stupid Cupid, that was written by our friend of the neighborhood, Neil Sedaka, as well as his co-writer back in that period. They had all these hits together, Howard Greenfield. So with apologies and respect to them, I was thinking, my God, with all the things that college kids are into now and what they're doing, and it's just, I'm channel the disappointment, channel the rage, and make it funny and be comical. So I'm going to share my screen for just a moment or two while I play the brand new hit, the thing you're going to hear on Z100 over and over again, ladies and gentlemen. Where is it? Let me open this up. It's called Stupid Pupil. Let's see if it opens. It should open as a big video. There it is. I'll make it really big. So please enjoy the debut on Dave's Gone By of Stupid Pupil. Stupid pupil, you're a real disgrace. You don't contribute, you just take up space. You go to college on your parents' dime, but you ain't learning, you're just wasting time. Hey, brainless punk. Stupid pupil, get ready to flunk. Can't do your homework and you can't think straight. Trolling on TikTok while you masturbate. Sitting through classes with your earbuds in. Looking so dead, they call you next of kin. Boo-hoo, throw your fit. Stupid pupil, your pronoun is it. You mixed up little twerp with your protest sign upheld. But you can't read or write, so the words are all misspelled. You think you're curing social justice ills, but meanwhile mom and dad are paying all your bills. You're chugging Red Bull and you're vaping weed. The only things you learn are from your Twitter feed. You don't work, you don't pay rent. Stupid pupil, come out of your tent. Stop the occupation of campuses. Your hair is greasy and your armpits stink. You think that other people really care what you think. And if you graduate, then you'll be through, 'cause you'll be serving burgers to the likes of you. Hey, don't you see? You just crapped on your bachelor's degree. Hey, higher ed. Stupid pupil, I wish you were dead. Hey, you kids, get off our lawns. And there you have it, the debut of Stupid Pupil. A couple of audio glitches there that aren't on the video. I'm going to post that separately, both on YouTube and on Dave's Gone By. So I'm hoping that some of those little audio hiccups that it had, which weren't playing maybe it's just this Facebook thing, made it a little difficult. But I hope you enjoyed. That was Stupid Pupil here on Dave's Gone By. Copyright me with, of course, the music, karaoke-ized. So I'm hoping that it won't be a copyright problem, since parody is protected. Yes, it is. Here in the neighborhood. So anyway, with that out of the way, and still our limerick of the damned to do, what else do we have to? Well, I do want to talk about kind of the shock of yesterday. Because I check while I'm trying to work, I need distraction, so I'll always check the news several times a day. Just, hey, what's new? What's happening with the Dow Jones? What's happening with it? And then out of the blue, suddenly the New York Post top story headline on the feed was the passing of Morgan Spurlock at age 53, man. Morgan Spurlock probably made the second best known documentary before documentaries became unbelievably ubiquitous on streaming services, and everybody's watching documentaries, series, and crime series, and serial murders, and cults this, and all of that. There was a point about 20-something, 25, 30 years ago, when documentaries were not fashionable at all. Nobody, there was Harlan County, USA, which only film students went to see, and the occasional, really out of the blue doc that would show up on PBS. But nobody watched documentaries. Nobody was interested. Everybody wanted fiction movies. And so when Roger and Me came along, and that Michael Moore did, even though he was playing with the truth, we later found out, and manipulated stuff because he's a filmmaker and a brilliant comedy kind of a guy, that was something like, holy crap, documentaries can be fun. Documentaries aren't just these educational 16mm things that you had to watch in junior high school that gave the teacher a break for half an hour. They were, they could be as fun and as gripping as any other movie. So he sort of kicked the door down. So did the guy who did The Thin Blue Line, and Errol Morris, and some other folks like that. But really the second most beyond Roger and Me was this fellow named Morgan Spurlock, who came up with a scary but brilliant idea for a documentary movie, a personal one, of saying, and that Roger and Me thing of the filmmaker himself is the subject as much as anything else. And if you have someone who is personable and interesting and kind of off-center and quirky, you'll follow them for 70, 80, 90, 100 minutes. So Spurlock said, hey, I want to take on the way we're eating in this country and how obese we're getting and what we're doing to our bodies and the chemicals that are in our foods and the salts and the sugars and the this and the that and the fact that we're eating portions much greater than what not even our ancestors were eating, but our parents and our grandparents were eating only a couple of decades earlier. So he could have made a really boring documentary, a very factual thing with a lot of interviews, a lot of this, but instead he said, let me focus this in a comical way with like a rising action, a falling thing of like, hey, let's follow a trajectory here. And so I'm going to eat, I don't remember how long it was for. It might have been a month. But he said, I'm going to eat only McDonald's. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. I'm going to eat McDonald's. And I'm not going to eat anything else anywhere else. 3 times a day. I think it was for a month, maybe it was 6 weeks. Right? And if the reason the name of the film is Supersize Me is if they ask me, do you want to supersize that? I have to say yes. If they don't ask me, I'm just going to have the regular meal. But if they ask me if I want to supersize it, do I want a bigger Coca-Cola? Do I want bigger French fries? I've got to say yes. I've got to eat the whole thing 3 times a day. So he does this. And he does it right. He gets on board. He has a doctor who's this very cute little South Asian man who helps him out and who tests him like once a week to see how he's doing. Because on some level, you shouldn't have to do this. On some level, you should be confident that you're eating at a restaurant that has passed FDA regulations, that is serving different things, that has some vegetables and things in its meal. I mean, a burger has tomato and lettuce on it, and onion, right? Breakfast comes with a piece of apple or something. Why should you have to check with your doctor when you're just eating food that people eat all the time? But he did, and he had the doctor check him before he started this and take blood and see that he was okay to do this. And he goes on an all McDonald's diet, day after day, after day after day. And the classic moment is only like 3 weeks into it. He goes to his doctor and says, I'm feeling okay. I'm sluggish. I'm sleepier. I put on weight. I'm kind of saggy and stuff. And my mind isn't as focused or clear as it usually is. And the doctor tests him and tests the blood and says, you keep eating like this. I recommend that you stop doing this because I've tested your liver. And he said this marvelous thing. It's pate. Your liver is now turning into pate just from eating this high salt, high fat content, bready, starchy, meaty food, 3 times a day, every single day. And of course, the upshot of the film was something that any rational person would have known going into the film. It's like, McDonald's is great for a treat once a week, once a month, kind of. If you eat anything like that's processed and, of course it's going to, and you only eat that, what do you think is going to happen? So yeah, McDonald's is tasty. It's yummy, it's fast, and back then it was cheap. Now McDonald's is $10, $12 for a friggin' Happy Meal. It's not even worth it. But back in the day, hey, if you can have a cheap lunch for $4, delicious fries, nice and salty, tasty ketchup, why not? But again, it's not something you wanted to do every day. I'm sure there are people who ate at McDonald's several times a week. It was convenient. They have 45 minutes for a lunch hour. It's right by the office. They know they can come in, get out, grab. It's tasty. It's hot. It's freshly made, as it were, and yummy, yummy, yummy. But it was a cautionary tale told because it had that human element. You were rooting for him, and you were kind of rooting for him to be okay, I think. I mean, the point of the film is that even after only a couple of weeks of the way he was eating, his health went noticeably downhill. I think he had a headache here and there, but he was okay. He didn't turn into a basket case, but he still was not the same quality of physical specimen that he was going into this experiment, right? And part of me wanted him to be like, see, McDonald's isn't so bad. It's meat. It's got tomato on it. And part of you that wants to see a movie and wants to see a character arc go, ooh, let's see how bad he gets. So that was the movie. And he did many movies after that, too. I saw 1 or 2 of them. They're just not as memorable as Super Size Me. As a matter of fact, he made Super Size Me 2. I don't know if anybody even went to see that. And yes, like so many celebrities and notable people of our times, he was on the cancel culture list because apparently he said some bad things about women or was not particularly nice to some of his staffers who were women. Or I don't even remember. I remember he got canceled. I don't quite remember why. I do know he was on his 3rd divorce when he was when he was dying, when he got cancer and died 2 days ago. So obviously he had issues with women. He did admit to cheating. He came out, he certainly, I think one of the reasons he got canceled was saying that he cheated serially on his second wife, because he was kind of a good-looking guy and had opportunities. So he cheated serially on his second wife and then came out and admitted it. And instead of saying, oh, we get it, and instead of people around the country, or men and women, saying, well, yeah, you're married for a while, you look around, and if the opportunity presents itself and we feel you shouldn't have done it, it was wrong, but good for you for coming. No. Instead, bad guy, sexist, canceled, so fine. So that affected his career and maybe his opportunities in ticket sales for his other documentary projects, and had a TV show for a while. So I feel bad about that for him, and I feel bad about him getting cancer in his early 50s and it taking him out. Now, of course, the immediate thing is, well, that month or so that he spent eating garbage, if you will, eating processed McDonald's food, I wonder if that really did weaken this. But then he would have died of liver disease, or he would have died of high blood pressure, hypertension. It's kind of, if Keith Richards survived his diet and chemical intake when he was in his teens and 20s and 30s, right? Morgan Spurlock should have been able to survive a month of McDonald's when he was in his mid-late 20s, early 30s, and so forth. I don't think that had anything at all to do with it. Some people just, some people get cancer. So it's an awful thing. It does make me want to go back and watch some of his other movies, and then even watch Super Size Me again, because that was a very enjoyable film with a message, obviously, but a message that kind of was crammed down your throat literally, but not crammed down your throat figuratively, if you know what I'm trying to say. So anyway, farewell to Morgan Spurlock, who passed just yesterday, I think, or 2 days ago, at the age of 53. Anyway, it's about 10 minutes to go until noon here in the neighborhood, pardon me, Eastern time. And so we have one more thing to do. Oh, I know. Piggy on the wall is excited. Pooey on the wall is excited. Potato's excited. Chicken is, you all should be excited because it's time for the Colorado Limerick of the Damned. Now, my wife and I lived in Colorado for about 13 years. We were teaching there. We have a really nice time living in northern Colorado. I had Indian food 2 days ago, and it was wonderful, but I'm like, oh. So we were living in Colorado for several years, and really liked it. I took it into my brain to write as many poems as I could about all these different places in Colorado, very highly populated cities and towns to borderline ghost towns, or even now I'm doing places that don't even exist anymore, but they were on the map in like 1910. So trying to find as many towns and cities and burgs in Colorado as I can and write a limerick, a risque, awful, disgusting poem about each one, and also give you a little information about the town itself. That's why we call them Colorado Limericks of the Damned.
You're the poetry man.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick.
Rocky Mountain, Colorado.
Thank you, Christine Lavin. Yes, it is our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, because, it's not just enough to write a poem about these places. I want to make it, evil and filthy and disgusting. And this one is, it's bad, but it's not that bad. Some of them, trust me, you weren't here for agate last week. But this one is for Aiken, Colorado. So I'm going to write a poem about that, and there's really very, very, very little to say about Aiken, Colorado. It's a ghost town, barely there in Mesa County, slightly less than a mile high, so it's not one of those big, ones that have winter for 8 months in Colorado. This one's about 4,900 feet or something. And it's in far western central Colorado in the Wagon Train Ridge area. And if you can find out anything more about Aiken, please contact me. Please write to me, davesgoneby@aol.com, because I've got nothing else. This is really all it. And yet, it's on the wiki page. It was a place. Not really much to say about it. So, Aiken, Colorado, I do have a poem, a Colorado Limerick of the Damned, for you. I'll even get my special glasses on. They once had a cook-off in Aiken and served all the judges bad bacon. The referees howled, but soon were befouled, 'cause all of the toilets were taken. Yeah, that one really wasn't that bad, was it? But you can still send your complaints to davesgoneby@aol.com. DAVESGONEBY. davesgoneby@aol.com. I read everything that comes in. I don't necessarily have time to respond to every message and email. You can also message me right on Facebook, of course. Send me a Facebook message or post under the episodes. You can do that too. However you want to contact me to let you know you've been listening, you've been loving this and hating that, or suggest this, or caution against that. However you want to respond to the show. Part of why I still do this after 21 and a half years is because I know people are out there. They're watching. They may be watching for the first time. We have, a relative of our wonderful guest, Robin Huber, who tuned in, never heard of the show. But his brother's on. Maybe he'll watch again. Maybe he enjoyed the program. Maybe not, but maybe he did. And he'll tune in Saturdays just like you all do. Saturdays from 9 until noonish or thereabouts for Dave's Gone By. Again, Dave's Gone By at AOL.com, the place to write to me. Radio Dave 2 is the Twitter feed. David.Lefkowitz is the Instagram page. And of course, for Rabbi Sol Solomon, you're going to want to check out his website, shalomdammit.com, or his Twitter feed at Rabbi Sol Solomon. So anyway, it's almost just a couple of minutes before noon. We're actually going to have a perfectly 3-hour show today. We should have another show next Saturday. It won't be our 945th. It will be our 946th episode of Dave's Gone By. And we're going to bring Rabbi Saul back for more of the P word. Because you're not going to miss more of the rabbi on that for sure. So he'll be here. We'll probably do Bunyan Watch. I may do Dave's Big Dictionary. We might have a guest or we might not. Certainly we'll have Grilly Times. Just all the usual unusuals, as I like to put it, that we put on this program every week here. So I want to thank you again for tuning in, for telling your friends and enemies to tune in. Want to wish one more time everybody a very happy, what do you say, a respectful and good Memorial Day, remembering the folks who gave all so that we can have all we have. So yay on that. Want to thank my darling and adorable wife for joining me in the neighborhood too, and for all her help and love and support, not just doing the program, but day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. I've actually been married almost as long as Robin has. And thank you one more time to the wonderful Robin Huber. And I just wish him so many more years of, the man is 78 years old. Did you see him? Of health and being able to just go up and down and plant trees and get seedlings and saplings and dig and show and enjoy and revel in this second life of his. I hope you revel in your week. This is Dave Lefkowitz wishing you a very fine one and gone by.
Days gone by, days gone by, days gone by, days gone by, days gone by.
Or is it Dave's Gone Tie? No, it's not. See you next week.